Okay,
We're
guys,
gonna-
it's 6:30, let's go ahead and get started. We've got a lot to unpack tonight, so I want to be as efficient as possible. I didn't ask Chris, are we online?
Yes, we're.
Okay, thank you. Welcome everybody to the July 2024 Blockhouse MUD meeting. Going forward, we're gonna probably be meeting a little bit more frequently because we're going into budget session, so get ready. All right, let's go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're gonna go ahead and observe 30 seconds of silence. Please silence your phones. Okay, thank you. We're gonna start with the first couple agenda items. We are moving around quite a bit. I have it written out. I'm not gonna announce it ahead of time because I don't think it would help and we'd all get more confused. But if you can, just kind of follow along as we go around. We're gonna try to knock out the absolute major things we need to at the beginning, stuff we need to vote on, make decisions on, and allow time for some other stuff we need to take care of. So go ahead with number one, during citizens communication. I see I have one form here. I think I should have another form, right?
Oh, that's what's filling out form. I put my name on the list. Can I
Okay.
just, is it too late?
Sandy, did you want to go first, or?
Sandy, you go first.
I told her it was first.
It's Sandy Martin.
So I have a question, and I know it's not on the agenda, but I've noticed the last couple of meetings that there's texting going on, and it looks like it's between people in the audience and people on the board. And I just wanna know if that's acceptable, because I want your phone numbers, so I can give my opinion. It just doesn't look good, and so I just wondered what the kind of rule was, or if there was a rule, or anything like that.
You know, you're right, it's not on the agenda, but we can put that on the agenda and have Sean research it and see if there's anything in the code of conduct about that, or just best practices, but thanks for making it aware of that. So if you don't mind, we'll probably discuss it next month.
Okay,
Is that
thank you.
Okay.
I think Sandy's got my number because I've helped her move stuff.
Yeah, well, you got my number too.
I need Johnsons and Youngs.
I'm
She
gonna
wants to put you all to work moving stuff for
I'm
events.
gonna put you.
She's got my number.
Okay, Cynthia Langdon,
So,
you have 3 minutes. You have the timer on? You know.
You watch it.
so I just wanted to see if y'all were aware of the expansion that's going on with 183A. It's gonna start at 620 and it's going all the way up to Caraway. And what the proposal is that those center lanes that are now grass will be 2 more lanes. So our neighborhood is mainly the only neighborhood that backs up directly to 183A. There might be a little bit of
Bridgeway.
yeah, but we're the ones that are gonna be impacted the most. Further up, they've already got it done. Further down, they built those neighborhoods off the street. So we're the ones that will be backing up into an 8-lane, highway. I think in, conjunction with the furniture center and everything that's going on over there, that it really is gonna impact the quality of life. The sound is already above the, city noise, allowable noise ordinance. Decibel, thank you. So then add 2 more lanes, and it's just gonna be, very, it's gonna impact our quality of life, it's gonna impact the neighborhood, and I think it's all in negative ways. So my thought was, I briefly spoke with, I think her name was Hillary, when this first came out. She said our wall is really what they call a neighborhood wall, it's not a sound barrier wall, and so my thought was that we ask that they add to that wall, increase it. I don't think they will, but we're the only ones that are gonna be impacted. It really would just need to be from New Hope to Crystal Falls, not even.
Did they explain to you why we don't have a sound barrier wall?
I don't.
It's because they go down, they slope down with the road, and so they said that was,
But the problem is, a lot of it isn't. Like where I live right out on it. It
It's not sloped
slopes
down,
closer
yeah.
to Scottsdale.
Yeah.
But it's not the entire way across our neighborhood
Yeah.
does it slope. And to me, I get the idea, but when you add another 2 lanes, like, really, is that gonna help? I did ask for trees a while back, and it's a weird thing where they don't own that strip of land that's right in front.
Right?
Somebody else, like, it got very convoluted, because there's this CTRN or whatever,
CTRMA.
and they don't own it, it's like someone else owns that land, so. It might be the city, so that wasn't an option. So my thought is, if you built a neighborhood wall and now you're increasing your profits, can you please at least add? So anywho, there is an open house, which is very misleading, it really looks like it's gonna be a video and you can leave comments, but I was hoping the MUD could at least get involved, be aware, reach out. My neighbors were all gonna reach out, and I'm gonna kind of get with the other streets that back up there to do that as well. But I just wanted to make sure.
It's in person or virtual?
It's virtual, and it really,
Okay.
I mean, it's virtual July 31st through September 1st, like the whole time. So it's
okay.
really a video, and then you leave your comments.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Can I ask?
Yes,
Maybe
yes, I
also,
will answer your question.
Yes, go with Ridgewood.
Okay. Thank you. Any other?
Based on this one?
Yeah.
David, have y'all heard much about this? Can you provide any light from the engineering side on anything you've heard on this front? Okay.
Nothing,
Okay.
nothing at all. I briefly spoke to Ursula about it the other day, but I have no information on it.
Got it. Thank you.
Can I leave this for y'all?
We love that, yeah.
This was in the community impact, and every
Okay.
resident also did get a postcard about it, but most people probably didn't know what it was.
In your area? I didn't get it.
I didn't.
Yeah, we didn't.
I think it's probably the one, I don't
Oh,
know.
go over.
We're not,
I don't
we're
know.
not close.
Okay. Thank you, Cynthia Langdon.
Well, then thank you so much, Matt. Please no.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes from May 22nd and June
Motion.
26th? Second. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We are gonna go ahead and move into.
I'll abstain.
Okay. We're gonna go ahead and move into the election items, which is on our supplemental. So we will start with that. So, order calling the director election for November 5th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do you have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Cecilia on the motion
And Johnson on the second.
Thank you.
Okay, number 2, joint election agreement and contract for election services for November 5th, 2024, including the resolution approving joint election agreement and contract for election services. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All abstained?
Abstain.
Okay, number 3, notice a deadline to file applications for a place on the ballot. Sean?
So this is just behind tab number 3, board members, this is just statutory required, so we will undertake these postings on your behalf. And no approval needed, this is just essentially the required deadlines for placing applications on the ballot. And there's also a memo on there relating to the functionality of such dates, but happy to answer any questions you might have.
And what is that date? It's the 14th, 19th?
Let's see, filing time is from July 20th until August 19th.
And they need to be returned into our Brown office. Okay, thank you. For 5th, 2024 director election. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained?
Abstain.
Okay, number 5, order adopting Williamson County voting system. Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstained?
Abstain.
Okay, number 6, any other matters relating to the district November 5th, 2024 director election?
Don't have anything else.
Okay, does anyone else, do we need to have a motion on it, or are we good? Okay, then we'll go ahead and close that out. I don't have to close that,
Yeah.
Okay,
Back to the meeting.
okay, great, so now we're gonna go ahead and move on to, number 4, which is the report from the Blockhouse Owners Association, Ms. Martin.
Okay, so we had July 4th and it was hot, but I think we had a whole lot of people and from all accounts, it went well. I didn't hear any complaints. We did have food trucks, which is always our concern, and the Boy Scouts were there, and some hot dogs and drinks. July 19th was Jaws. It wasn't as well attended as Little Mermaid, but I think the kids mainly, not the kids, the teenagers mainly enjoyed it, so we're looking at it again for next year. August 3rd, if y'all approve it tonight, is the Community Gardens Market Days. And I believe it's from 8:30 to noon. It may be 9 to noon. If it's not, then I need to change the sign.
9 to noon, but 8:30 is fine. I mean, it's really officially 9 to noon.
Okay.
That's fine.
And then August 17th is back to school, and that's gonna be big as usual, growing a little bit. So anybody that, you know, wants to come help stand under our tent, that would be awesome. And that's all I have.
So what about August 19th, that's on our thing, isn't it, the disc golf?
Oh, but you know what we are doing, I'm sorry, and I believe it's not gonna be until October, and I'm not sure we coordinated a date with, because we don't know who the candidates are, doing a Med Directors candidate forum, thank you. If you know that you're running and you get your paperwork in time, let me know, and we have to reserve the pavilion, but it'll be on a Saturday morning. And so just wanna let whoever's running know.
Okay, for your back to school event, I know it's 2 or 3 days after the first day of school, but the mayor of Leander called me and they're working with, Leander ISD on the Rouse right away, and they're gonna have a lot of information. They just wanna get out to parents and families, and a lot of our kids go to Rouse and Wiley here, so are they okay to do something?
Sure, they can set up a tent if it's
Okay.
non-partisan.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with elections. It's totally just how to get in and out of Raider Way and Woodview safely, because they're changing the traffic pattern.
Okay, is the Med gonna put up a tent? You don't know?
We haven't discussed.
We haven't discussed it, I know I'm volunteering for it, we can.
Well, we could put Leander ISD in that same area, or whoever it
It's a
is, the
city,
city.
yeah.
So that we're all kind of in the same area, I think
Okay.
there's plenty of room.
Okay.
So, just
All right.
let me know.
Great, thank you. All right, thanks.
August 17th?
August 17th.
We need to approve the August 3rd event, or Tuesday?
Is that
Sorry.
under, the
That's all.
hands?
Okay, make sure, just making sure.
We're starting at 6.
We can revisit. I just wanna make sure we miss it, that's all.
Oh, okay. Can I get a motion to approve the August 3rd Market Days event?
Motion. Second.
All in discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Anybody abstaining?
Stand.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and go to number 9.
Number 8.
Oh, I thought we were, okay, I thought it went on. Number 8, report from and directives to Premier Rec Management Services. Mark, welcome.
Thank you. All's going well. Everything's working out very nicely this summer. We haven't had too many issues at all. Chemicals have been remaining balanced. We did add some chlorine stabilizer, so there's a few days that the chlorine looks a little bit higher until we adjusted the ORP range to keep that in the normal ranges. But that should actually hold the chlorine and save a little bit of money for you in the long run. So we're trying to work on that for you. Other than that, everything's going well. On July 3rd, we did have the green slide went down. There was an electrical issue with a pump that had shorted out in there. And I was trying to get the company to come out and look at it that installed it, but I wasn't able to reach them. And that Saturday, I went and took a look at it, traced it down, and was able to repair it and got it back up and running for you. So on Saturday afternoon, or by the time we opened Saturday, after, I think that was the 5th of July, we were back open and it's been running ever since.
Thank you, Mark.
Absolutely. Other than that, the movie night was great. We had a lot of fun. We played some music beforehand, just give them something to do while we were waiting for the sun to go down. And it's they're right now. It thanks to Crossroads, they repaired a valve at the corner there, so now we have good water pressure again, and it's running much smoother over here. So, thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's go on to number 9, proposal from Sundeck for repairs and cement overlay system.
My attention and mentioned that swimmers, whenever they're coming out of the water after basically near the slided area, mentioned that it was an actual slipping hazard, if you will.
Yeah, a lot of times, as the kids were running over to the slide, we try to stop them from running, but we know that kids do that from time to time. As they were rounding that corner right there by the slide, it's very slick in that area, going to the stairs.
So you'll see a proposal here for $6,172.01. We would need half of that deposit, however, there was a question, which is why I particular area.
So the deck is not too slick as far as that's concerned. It does get extremely hot with the color of it, and that sun deck, depending on the color, can help with that. I don't know the longevity of sun decking. We just put it in another location, and it's amazing. If it is painted, it does have the slickness to it, but it's also textured, so that helps with the slip resistance. Just choose the color wisely because it can be too bright. So it's one of those things that it's nice to have it consistent all the way around. Your deck will last longer doing that, but I don't know how long the sun deck lasts for sure, so just double check that.
Do you think that we could make it through the rest of this season as we're functioning right now, or would this be something that you would recommend for us to go ahead and get?
We can make it through the season as we're functioning now. We did bring a couple mats over, so we've reduced that slip hazard with a couple mats there. So I think it's something we could do over the off season.
So my recommendation would be that if we could go ahead and add it into the 2025 budget, get a full look at the deck entirely and bring that back.
Okay, I think that's a good recommendation. Okay,
So this one is not good, no action?
Yeah, no action at this time.
great. Okay, thank you, Mark.
Absolutely.
Okay, number 10, report from and directives from Priority Landscape.
Good evening.
Hi.
Except for the first part, trying to get ready for 4th of July, but everything else ran pretty smoothly. We did complete, with the exception of maybe a half a day's worth of cleanup, the additional fire break hours. We were able to do areas behind Moser River, I believe, and lost the name of the other, Spotted Eagle, about 8 houses behind Spotted Eagle. So that will be finished this week, weather permitting.
Great,
Thank you.
okay.
That was good to hear.
We're gonna go ahead and table 10A at this time.
Okay.
Okay, so does anybody have anything for priority?
Yeah, I do. Has it been reported? Are we looking to fix that? Are we going to continue to water around the loop a day after a massive rain?
We shouldn't be, the rain sensor should be stopping that water. We had an
Okay.
issue at Tonkawa, and that is off because that rain sensor is not
Okay.
functioning.
This was between Creek Run, it was on Blockhouse Drive, between Creek Run and Scottsdale in that area on the inside of the loop.
Okay.
If you'll take a look at that, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Okay, anybody have anything else?
I just want to add a comment. So if you do go in and turn the system off, are y'all actually calendaring it? How do you know to bring it back on without somebody saying, now it's too dry?
We've just got the controller manually turned off. When we
Okay.
replace that rain sensor, we will turn it back to.
Perfect. And that's the Quark system?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
All right, great, thank you very much.
Welcome. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Here, we're gonna go ahead and jump to number 14, Boy Scouts of America, use of Kumano Center. Thank you guys for coming. So, do you want me to start or okay, so, I'll let you guys know, we got a little, we got a report of some of the scouts were hanging around the garden and got a gourd and, different things, and there was a gardener out there, so.
Yeah.
It's a concern, we'd let you guys know one other time,
Actually, it's been seven total.
7 total times that they've been out there.
From May 16th of 2023 to July 15th of 2024.
Okay, so, we reached out to y'all, you know, you're gonna talk to whatever scout chart was in charge. So why don't you go ahead and give us your thoughts?
Sure.
One thing we offered was for some of the community garden leaders to sit down and meet with you all and make it a learning experience for the kids and let them really truly appreciate the gardens. And I think that was well received, but we haven't heard back yet on
Yeah,
scheduling that.
Series of events have gone fairly quickly, and just want to introduce myself. I'm Andres Guerrero, been a Blockhouse resident since 2006, and I've been active in the Scouts for about 8 years as a parent, and then fairly recently as a Scoutmaster. And so my purpose and intent is to provide the board with perspective and scouting in the community, also address the issues that were brought forth to us, and also provide collaborative solutions so you can make an informed decision. So, I mean, scouting is a great platform for our youth to learn and develop leadership skills, personal skills, and it also provides a supportive environment for that. The leadership skills that we try to teach them is coaching, mentoring, and teaching, communication, advocacy for themselves. For relationships, we also talk about interviewing skills, how to correct behaviors, respecting others' beliefs, and that everyone has valuable and also community engagement. And we also teach preparation. We have to plan and use critical thinking in order to do our campouts and service projects and whatnot. Because of the supportive environment, this community has benefited greatly from scouting, excuse me. We help facilitate the park campouts. We put flags around the neighborhood for the 4th of July for decoration. We also built monuments in the park. We have built benches as well as maintained the trails in Pimano and built those for Eagle Scout projects. We also volunteer ourselves and offer our services for the schools to help for their outside projects that they need. And we also have in the past and want to continue to do so to help weed and maintain those gardens. And for the situation at the particular scout meeting in question, we have at all of our meetings, we do have adults that are there. We always have 2 registered adults that have gone through training, and basically the adults are there to, we don't really facilitate the meetings because really the boys or our scouts are the ones who come up with the agendas. They come up with what they're going to be doing for those meetings and they supervise themselves. If there is like any conflicts that they can resolve themselves, that's where we kind of step in and provide that it's like a guidance, exactly, sorry. We provide that guidance, so, I mean, we're kind of like coaches in a way to help develop them so they can learn how to use those skills later on in life. What was going on in this meeting, we had several board reviews, and that's where we actually, we have the adult leaders sit with like one scout and they review as far as like what they've been working on, how their scouting is going on, how it's going for them, and in order to advance to their next rank. So we had several of those that we were doing in progress. While that was going on, we had our other scouts that were around in the area, and they were working on different merit badges. One in particular that the scout was doing was his nature badge, and he was wanting to identify, part of the requirements was to identify plants in your area. Naturally, he is a kid that is very inquisitive, but he knows a lot about gardening himself, so he went up to the garden and started writing down plants that he was working on. He did see the gourd, and he told us that it was kind of dangling, and then he picked it and for further inspection. And another adult that was in the garden approached him and basically said, like, you're not allowed to pick vegetables from other plots, and he was kind of thrown off by that statement. He may have appeared to be dismissive, but he was sort of like, I am working on something. Was never really given the chance to
I guess, speak to whatever it was. He was more of an accusatory tone. And there were other scouts there that could have been addressed, but they were never approached. So I just want to say, like, for the future, we do want to be contacted about these things. We want to be able to address them as a group. And also, we want the trust from you and other members of the community that we are working to correct these behaviors. I don't want to say it's like we're reprimanding them or anything. It's more of like what you're doing is like it could be infringing on somebody else. Like we gotta really be present in the moment. And so I also I want that trust, and then we also want to collaborate for some great solutions. And we're willing to work with the gardening group to help weed, spread mulch, or do any other maintenance projects that they have a list for. I also want to continue to build a better relationship with the mud, as well as having continued access to Kimono. Not just for our group, but also for the Cubs. A little bit of an aside, but like our troop is the Scouts BSA, and the Cub Scouts is actually a different group, so I'm not saying that like, well, I don't know, because I can't really speak to it, but as far as like the, there are two separate entities, but we do work together on a lot of things, so if you address it with the Cubs will bring it up to us. If you address it with us, we can bring it to the Cubs. We're very close in that type of contact. So if there are any questions about what I said or what I failed to address.
Okay,
to
Jim, do you have anything you want to add, or do you just want to listen to the directors, or how would you?
I'll listen to the directors.
Okay.
I can speak at the end, I think that's
Okay,
important.
Director Shoemaker, do you have any questions?
No questions this time, I guess. I guess one question, what is the action item? Are we, listen, report, are we taking actions? It shows as, hold on, I must have lost my spot on the agenda today. Apologies.
I was kind of wondering that.
14 to decision.
It's the use of Humana Center.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I guess, I guess it's not the question, I mean, at the last meeting, we had a lot of discussion. I'm hesitant to take any final action here until I would like to deal with all the issues in human life realistically. And so I'm hesitant to take any action at this point on any particular pieces. I'd like to try to get something on the agenda, maybe a work group session potentially with all the stakeholders involved, including Lisa, the deputies, everybody who's involved back there, because I think the said the last meeting was you kind of have recurring problems back there that are across lots of different perspectives and spectrums, and we've struggled to manage them. So I'm a little bit hesitant to take any final action, get everybody together and trying to sit down and try to get something figured out.
Okay, Director Roberts.
I concur with Dave.
Okay, Director.
And I first do want to thank you for coming and sharing the insight. That's very helpful.
Yeah, Director Johnson.
I agree, thank you.
Director Knapp.
Yeah, I would like to bring up the fencing off of, I know that the building is fenced in, but the garden has kind of their own specific area. I've asked them to just designate where they would like a fence to go. We have budgeting season coming up. I don't think it's gonna cost a whole lot, maybe 20, 30 posts, some fencing going along there. I'd like us to consider that. It would delineate the garden area from the rest of the stuff. Probably wanna have a big fence in there, but I think that would help keep random kids from going in there from, when they do get access to the building. And I do foresee access to the building as this is empty, we're not renting this out anymore, this building, so that's what I've got.
What do you mean we're not running this out anymore?
The Walker House.
Okay. I've been a part of what you guys have done in this community for years, you know that, and thank you very much for all your help. And like I said, I think communication is key, and if we can sit down and I know one of the gardeners is a teacher, and she's really excited to talk to the boys, and just help them learn a little respect for it.
Right.
And, I think it's cool if they were supervised to even walk around and learn some stuff, it's a really cool thing that's going on there.
Yeah.
So, I guess my suggestion would be that we do finalize and get, it's actually Mark, Monica's husband, Ashley, and myself would like to come and talk to you all. So I just think that's the first step, and then maybe go with some other ideas that were suggested. Lisa?
I completely agree with Director Shoemaker. I think it would be super important for us to all meet together so that we can definitely get an understanding of how this area is being managed. I respect and thank you for coming out and actually speaking for the Scouts. I do get a little bit of a different perspective than everybody else because I actually do watch the cameras out there.
Yeah.
And I have reached out to you all within this last year more than 7 times. And I would like to, like I said, go ahead and get a meeting. In the meantime, before we're able to get that meeting together, I would ask you all to be extremely diligent in regards to the supervision. I understand, as you've mentioned, that these young men are to supervise themselves. However, we do have, items that the district has asked you all to make sure that these young men are not, on the barrels, causing possibly, an accident that could happen that would, cause the district to be in some sort of, liability, if you will.
Right.
Obviously, there are garden items, but it's just, the cameras look a lot different than the information that you're explaining, and I genuinely don't see not one adult anywhere around all of the young men that are out there, and so I would like to, like I said, work at trying to get a meeting sooner than later, and I think it would be super helpful for everybody, just to make sure that those young men are safe at all times.
Yeah.
Director Logan, real quick, since, before you're trying to, I think maybe perhaps, Lisa, I know we have budget season coming up, maybe perhaps the board directed at the end of this to have Lisa work on trying to get with the various stakeholders about times at work, maybe in September.
Sure.
For everybody, your deputies, like I know y'all, various things to try to set, look at the workshop on, a while back, something similar where we can have the board, but also have a little more extended comment from the various stakeholders.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Garden folks, we did meet them all.
If you can give me a specific date, that'd be great, just because my schedule is very variable. I work at the HP Plus down the road, so I don't really have a set schedule. So if you have that date blocked off, I can at least put a request.
Sure, and if
so
you and I, we
that'd
can communicate and you can let me know what works best for you as well, but I'll definitely reach out and we'll work at getting a date that works for everybody.
be great. Perfect.
Do you have a question?
Right, Chris Bratton, former Scoutmaster, current treasurer and committee member, would it be possible to verify with you what you were using, is that should have been in emails and things that I would be connected to? I have not seen anything like that, and I would have been the one that would have been things, so I think most of them might be going to the Cubs. And so we may be missing some of the updates on some of those, so if I can verify the contact that you're sending.
Yes, I have been actually sending them to David Wood, and he has been responding, letting us know that he actually has forwarded this information on to you all, and y'all are privy to that information.
Okay, and if we can get us on as a
And we can,
direct,
absolutely, moving forward, we absolutely will, absolutely.
And I thank you for giving us the opportunity, and also that we've been in the neighborhood for a very long time, and I can hope that we continue to do so, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we need to keep moving on. Number 21. Okay, so we're gonna go over to finance and audit. You're Tyler up.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'll go ahead and start with your bookkeeping reports. For checks being approved today, we have checks 8987 through 9038. There wasn't a supplemental check that I sent out earlier this week, check 9039 to that payment for the First Citizens credit card. We had 3 transfers, the tax transfer, the transfer to the manager's account in order to cover the bill payments, and a transfer from the special projects fund to the general operating fund in order to cover those fence staining invoices that we've received this year. There is one CD that's set to mature today. We're looking at renewing that CD at the best rate that the bank will offer. So you're at 3 total, which remains constant from previous meetings. And for your tax collections through June, the district's at 98.93% collected.
Great, thank you. Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the payment of bills and invoices and the 3 transfers?
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain? Okay, Thank you very much, the resolution for that, with Mac and everyone. And, we made some changes to the budget. It was suggested that we just go ahead and amend it. I think it'll help us get kind of where we need to be to start the budget session in September. So do I have a motion to approve the adopted amended budget?
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining?
Abstain.
Okay, number 22 is credit card payments for facility rentals, and this is really exciting, right, Johnson?
I like it.
And we have found a way, thank you very much, Tyler, that we can now accept credit cards if you're going to rent a facility, which is huge. We are working on doing online forms, so you don't even have to come in, but, I mean, we've always had to take checks, so this is really convenient. Unfortunately, to get your refund back, they're gonna have to cut you a check.
But we're still working on that too.
We are still working on
So
that.
we're in progress on the spectrum from checks and reserving in person to completely online like you might expect. We are a good chunk of the way through, but as Director Logan said, you still need to get a check mailed to you. But we're working on it.
Very puzzle. So, it says a decision, so are we gonna go ahead and, do we have something approved?
I don't know what it would be.
Tyler, do it?
I think we need to drop the policy.
I'm still here.
Okay, alright, so I guess, we need to do
I was just
policy
letting you know I'm
before we
still here.
enact this.
I would think so, or there's some vendor software or something like that that we're gonna be going through, or?
Tyler, what's the software we're using? We're just,
I don't know exactly what software it is. First Citizens is providing the card reader, so it's just whatever software that they use.
it won't need to be a complex policy, but we will put one together and approve it.
Okay, so we'll bring that next month. Director Shoemaker, do you have any comments?
Nope, that's only, I was gonna ask, policy comes next time, if that sounds good.
Yeah, it was a good suggestion. Director Roberts, do you have anything else? Director Johnson, Director Young.
Will we be keeping any credit card information on any of our servers or information through this? I would caution against it. Okay.
Tyler, can you confirm that we're not keeping credit card information? The only thing might be, Director Young, is that when we eventually work out how to, like, if you want to reserve the pavilion, the idea is that Tyler's still working on vetting is we would put a hold on the card for that amount, and then we would dismiss it once you leave the pavilion and it's all in good order. So.
Well,
no,
David, just an update on that. That's not looking very likely.
Okay, we'll discuss that later. But.
It's a good point, but.
It
I would like
is.
us to caution against going through PCI compliance. If we're keeping the information with us, it's gonna be bad news. When we get hacked and everybody has credit cards everywhere. So I'm gonna caution against going that path. We can have a third party hold on to that information or whatever, but I don't wanna have the district be liable for that.
But
Okay.
I think that'll come up in the when they bring the policy, we should have that discussion. The first policy won't, you're right, about you're right.
Yeah, about the data collection.
Yeah, okay.
So I haven't had a chance yet, so I think that is a good point to raise, and we need to get the data privacy policy from First Citizens, and maybe have Sean look into that a little bit more if we need to apply a data privacy policy.
So I was wondering, is there any way that this process could be run through Crossroads, just like we pay our bills?
Yeah, we tried, we asked them.
All right, just checking.
But it's an
Yeah,
interesting
good
idea
question.
to not have us, because the hitch currently is the perspective that when we take a reservation, we have the funds. And that's the problem, is that perspective, because when we have that perspective, that means we have to issue the funds in a check, because someone has to sign it, one of us has to sign it. And so if we can get out of that hitch of that we are holding the funds, that perspective, that's kind of the solution. Again, we're not there yet, we don't have it,
Yeah. But this is a first step, and it's really good, I think.
Yeah. Progress has definitely been made.
So my other point would be, let's find out if we have TMO coverage.
No, okay.
Well, we do have cybersecurity coverage. In fact, we're gonna talk about that later today, but that's the note I just made, is what impact would that have on our cybersecurity?
And that would cover credit cards?
No.
That's what we need to find out.
I agree.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else with that? We don't have anything else, we're not gonna talk about the market days, I don't think. Okay, we're gonna move on to, that was 21, 25. report from Gray Engineering, and we've got, you wanna tee up those pictures? We don't have to go through them all right now, but we'll let David talk and then we'll
Pictures?
show. Alright,
Well, they're the pictures from Trent, I think you're talking about, right?
Mhm.
Those are the renderings that Trent Rush from Hitchcock Design has provided of the new replacement.
I guess you can't go ahead and flip through them since he's talking about it.
Yeah, facilities to replace the
Oh, there we go.
playscape that we had behind the Walker House. That's the concept. I actually have a working set of drawings from Trent's office right now that we're starting to go through together. I'm working to schedule a meeting with the city of Cedar Park to start the process of, we have to go through them for a site development plan. First of all, we have to confirm that, but I'm fairly confident that we're about to go through that process. And that will be attended by myself and a representative from Trent's office, and I'll make the board aware of it. Lisa, I don't know if you would like to attend, et cetera, but we'll make sure you're aware of it. We have a process with the city, we just can't pick a day, they have to work us into their schedule, that's in the pre-developed meeting.
So this isn't exactly what it's gonna look like, so I see some
It's a
things,
rendering.
yeah,
Yeah, I ran into Trent.
yeah.
It's a
At
rendering.
David's party the other night.
Oh,
He was saying
good.
this,
So-
they're having a really hell during the 380s, so.
I mean, it's
But
just,
it looks good.
yeah, there's some things missing in there, but yeah, so thank you.
Yeah, so he's making good progress on that. Ultimately, that project will go through the city for site development plan. It'll be publicly bid, and then it'll go to construction. Where that kind of ties in our bond issue. We have a recreational bond issue filed with TCQ. We're expecting to receive comment or approval, hopefully approval, since we've not had any negative comments, any day. And that would allow us to proceed on at the board's discretion about advertising and selling and getting funds to fund all that. So that'll be coming up this fall also. On the general items, we worked with Lisa's office to restore, as well as Ben's office, to restore water pressure in the Walker House. I believe that's working, yay. Better be lucky than good sometimes, when I term that day. I think we've got a broken valve, and we were fortunate enough to get through it. The NFM side, we're continuing to work, and I know Lisa's had some exchanges with Spyglass on their sediment bank they have over there. I'll take some more pictures of that today. I want to coordinate with you. Not real happy with what I'm seeing over there. We'll get with them on that and try to improve that situation. We do have a responsibility to take drainage from them. I'm not saying that we don't, but the way it's being dealt with is, I think, could be improved upon, quite frankly. They have not proposed starting construction of the tie-in of the storm drainage or anything like that, so that's still to come, okay? And then the PVC easement, I know that's on your agenda later. We've coordinated our comments. Crystal's been involved in that in our office too, with Sean. I think Sean's gonna report on that. I did make a handout. I apologize, this did not make it into your packet. Basically, it's just to disclose to the board that that easement that's being requested of the district around PVC substation site will be used for a first leg, if you will, of a power line extension. It will ultimately go through that proposed easement, subject to the board's approval, underground. And when it gets to the railroad, it will go above ground, go across the railroad, and then go southward, parallel and adjacent to the railroad on the west side in an existing 20-foot easement that's already there. And that will extend southward. It'll go across Blockhouse Drive. It'll continue south, then cross back eastward across the railroad, and then across into ultimately serve into the NFM site. Those will be overhead lines. The piece that's in the proposed easement is an underground conduit. Overhead lines would be over the railroad and then down the railroad. You're gonna see them. That's an existing easement. They don't need our approval for that, even though a portion of that easement does go through district property, okay? Just wanna make sure everybody was aware of that. They know what's going on, before you take action on that easement tonight.
So you, and the way I'm looking at it, it goes down Creek Run, and that's gonna be above,
It goes adjacent to Creek Run. It's not in Creek Run.
but is it going
It's
to be
above ground.
above ground? So
Yes,
it's gonna
ma'am.
be on their property, but
Yes, ma'am.
that New York development
They're going to
property?
go through an easement there. I don't know if they have an easement there or not. The easement that I'm talking of the 20-foot easement is parallel and adjacent to the road across our property, which is, our property, the district property, and also Mr. Wong's property as it extends south of the blockhouse, south of Blockhouse Drive.
Can I clarify something you said? So it's gonna be above ground on their side,
Right.
on their property, but along Creek Run.
That's my understanding, it's gonna be along Creek, that's correct,
Yeah, and
that's correct.
so if you don't
That's my
want me,
understanding.
but you can just,
That's what this shows.
you're just gonna probably tell me to be quiet, but why can't we force them to put that underground?
Because
I mean, above
it's an engineer's telling you we have rights in that existing easement.
I understand, but we could request it from NFM, couldn't we?
You can request it.
Is it, would you request the ENFM or
NFM or would
PEC?
be PEC?
This is
PEC.
the, from the
It's
school.
PEC.
across the
It's
school.
PEC, so the request would be PEC.
It's
Right,
PEC.
that's right, but I'm asking NFM, most developers go and sometimes pay for their infrastructure.
Once they go to the NFM site, I don't know what it does, it's not been represented on this. This is the extent that goes from our proposed, our easement that they're asking of us to the NFM site. It does not display or disclose what it does on the NFM site.
Okay, so hold on a second,
Yeah.
guys. So this is number 39, I mean, it's part of your report, but
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
number 39 under Sean, so can we just go ahead and go into 39?
Sure.
So we can wrap this up and move forward if we need to with it or not. Okay, so, can we let Sean talk and then go around and ask questions? Is everybody cool?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Board members, last month we presented the draft to you of the utility easement that we had gotten from PEC. We had identified some things on there that David and I did not love. One of those things was language stating that to the extent they located any of the facilities as defined in the easement outside the boundaries of the easement, that the easement would then grow to the facilities. We have removed that on the draft that's gone over. And if you look at the last paragraph on page 1, it basically has good language in there relating to the remediation or repair of any of the land, the dirt that the district owns there while they're putting their facilities in. We have called out two specific things. I think we talked last time, there is a cedar elm tree.
33,
About right here.
Yes.
And so we have called that out to the attention. And we're dealing with the third-party electrical engineers that have been retained by PEC. They were aware of the tree, they said they ought to be able to wire around it. They have since run that up the flagpole a little bit. I went as far as getting a quote from Priority to replace the tree. Tree's on the tree survey, it's an 11-inch diameter cedar elm tree. The proposal from Priority was over $26,000 to replace the tree. So I think language in there right now basically says that if you pay for the tree or you replant the tree in kind, same species, same size. I don't know if you guys would have a preference, but I think it says here based on what you guys would like to do. In addition to that, David feels pretty sure there's a path that goes along, I guess, the east side here.
Yeah, it's the first 100
Power
feet of that.
substation, so we know they're gonna have to tear that up, although I think that can be properly remediated or
Yeah, it
replaced.
just needs to be replaced.
But they'll replace it.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
and we've got specificity in there.
Okay.
So other than that, I'm okay with the easement as drafted, and I think David is as well, given where we're at. And I think we might need final negotiations on the tree, just in terms of how they're gonna treat that. The engineer, seemed to understand that, the tree was gonna be an issue. I assured him it would be, so.
So do we need to vote on this then?
Yeah, I would request your
Okay.
approval on it, subject to final, review, and approval by the district engineer and the district.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second?
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay, discussion, I'll start with Director Shoemaker.
Okay, David, just real quick for clarity, looking at your map you provided. So basically, PEC is gonna run, looking at that line's kind of blue and red on the west side of the train track, just for clarity. They're gonna run something from the substation above ground on the red and blue line, and then back across again along.
Yeah, I apologize, if it's not on the screen, it'd be really helpful, but.
Sorry, yeah.
What they're gonna do, if I can try to demonstrate here, they're going to, you have a PEC line that runs along Susan Channel, okay? They're gonna tie into a transformer inside their site at that corner. They're gonna come outside their site into the new proposed 15-foot easement. They're gonna go underground, southward, along the east side of the PEC site, underground. They're gonna turn the corner, go across the south side of the PEC site in the new underground. When they get to the railroad right of ways, then they'll go above ground, have a pole, they'll come across the railroad track above ground. They will have another pole on the west side of the railroad track inside the existing 20-foot public utility easement. They will run overhead lines in that 20-foot public utility easement southward, adjacent and parallel to the railroad. They will cross Blockhouse Drive out here overhead. That's what this shows. And by the way, this map was prepared by them, so I'll give them credit. And then it will continue southward until basically it crosses back over the railroad and goes across property that's outside of the district.
Yeah, here,
Way down there, I'm sorry. That we don't know.
Vanna will help you out.
Used to be, yeah, thank you, Vanna. Used to be Robert Knight's property, go
The old
across
line
that.
track.
Right, old
That's
line track.
where-
And then it'll terminate, this line shows it terminates into the corner of the NFM site. What they'll do within the NFM property, we have not been advised.
That's
Okay,
why we're-
I just wanna make sure it's clear which side, I wanna make sure clear. So basically, there will be an extra raised line, but except for the part where it crosses Creek Run down by the NFM track, it's all gonna move by the railroad track.
That's correct. So they sell the railroad track.
So my question real quick is, there are already those existing power lines that they, ungodly ones put up.
That's on this side track. The lines,
Using us,
no, that line is on this side track.
yes, so they're
East
going to
side,
the other
they're
side.
on the other side, parallel, and there will be different poles than what you see on this line. This is a big transmission line. That's not the type of poles they'll be using on the other side.
I just.
Yeah, they'll be big, but they'll be small.
Yeah, just
Normal power
clutter it
poles.
up.
I would call them normal power poles.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have anything else, Director Baldwin?
No, just, I do have one other comment. So on the easement, and David, you probably have a very good relationship with PEC, as we've.
Stellar.
Yes, you do. But, do we get approval of the remediation? Or if it's not done to our satisfaction, would you feel confident that they would restore it?
I am confident that they will work with us to meet our expectations.
Okay, because there was no.
Wasn't there a little hiccup though with the bike park?
We had
Remediation?
to,
Put the lever down.
Okay, so we just may have to do that.
yeah.
Okay.
This is a much smaller project, the
Yeah.
disruption will be much smaller. But to your point, we've had to hold our feet to the fire.
Okay.
And I feel confident in our discussions with PEC, because we've had discussions with PEC representatives directly about this, and they seem to have understood the problem.
Okay. Director Johnson.
No, I think directors Shoemaker and Roberts have.
Okay, Director Young.
I'm good.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, anyone abstaining?
If I show any questions or comments, that's all I've got tonight. I'll be happy, we'll be happy to stay if you'd like first two, otherwise.
Yeah, I
we'll-
think we're okay, aren't we, Sean?
I think so, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
So let's
Thank y'all.
go to 26.
Good to see you, Mr.
Good to see you again.
26.
I missed you.
Okay, 26
We'll make it.
is the report from Crossroads Utilities. Ben, welcome.
All right. I'll be quick. It's been a good month operationally in Blockhouse. Once again, thanks to Mark and David for helping us get that restoring pressure over here. That was huge, so we got that.
And before we go too much further, and we're gonna leave, but we've been working with Ben and his people, finding some valves that were open. They've got them closed. We're comfortable with what they've done on that, and I think you'll see a reduction in your water loss.
Nice.
Way to go. Thank you.
They did that,
Thank you, sir.
but we're happy with that. Good
And so
job.
just to piggyback off that, if you look in the packet, our water loss is at 12% this month. And I've pulled the next 30 days and we're down to 9%.
Wow.
Wow, look
We're
at that.
trending in a really good way, so.
Don't let it get in your head, okay?
I know. But hopefully we're trending in that way. I have one write-off tonight, just for approval for $44.26.
Do you have a motion to approve the write-off?
Motion.
Second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Awesome.
Anyone abstain?
Okay.
Okay.
And then lastly, on our reports, I just have an email from Ernie with AT&T about just where we are. They are completely finished up with the Luke, Claudia, Jonathan Way, that whole section, that's all complete. He said there's 2 homes that had some restoration, some grass, but there should be no more construction in the district for the foreseeable future until the next section of Blockhouse goes up for bid. And then whenever that happens, I'll be notified and I'll relay the message on where, when that's coming down. But as of right now, they're just kind of at a standstill.
Okay.
And I think you just answered this question, but any thoughts on where and when?
I asked him, he said it's up for discussion right now, they're bidding it. But I told him, please notify me when they find out, and that will also be what the next section, it could be the west side of Blockhouse, it could be the east side. We don't know yet, but I will keep everybody informed.
I still have a few questions.
Do you have anything else?
That's it?
So I just have a question for you. As you mentioned, the valve, you found some illegal tampering maybe,
Mhm.
and then the valve over here that wasn't working correctly.
Mhm.
So it kind of put up my spice sense. I'm like, well, do you guys go around and audit our valves?
Yes.
And is it in the contract? So explain to us what you should be doing and what you're going to be doing, so.
Yes, so in our contract, we, Crossroads will perform annual valve surveys where we exercise all the valves in the district, we use the GIS map, we go around, we make sure all of them are operating correctly. Last year, since we kind of changed hands and I kind of came into the picture around mid-August of last year, I have a record of when the last valve inspection was done, but it wasn't under my authority. It was just, I think our maintenance crew did it, and we also had a maintenance supervisor leave Crossroads that's been a long-standing employee, so it was probably authorized that route. So, but when it comes to my records, we have it on the books. I'm gonna get some pricing sent over for budgeting. And it's in the contract that it's done annually.
Okay, so it's in the contract that you're gonna do it annually, but you're saying it's actually an additional charge?
Well, in the contract, it says I have to bring a proposal to the board for action.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And then we'll obviously put those results into our, what do you call it? Spike.
Yes,
by us, yeah.
yes, and I'll give you an Excel sheet with all the results and we can
Okay.
file that away for
That's good.
documentation.
Okay, does anybody else have any other questions for Ben?
Yeah, I just had a blind moment. So the write-off was how much?
$44.
Okay, that's all I need to know, because I was thinking it was $24, but
Oh,
I saw it was $44, so I just want to make sure it's correct.
Okay, thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to move on to 28, which is Sagamore fence proposal. Lisa, do we have a proposal for
2314 Susan Lane, this fence, actually, I took pictures of it as well and added it to your packet, you'll be able to see that. The resident called in and let us know that Sagamore had found it that's been staining, however, their fence was actually falling. You can't see that it's falling because they put a stabilized fence behind it. And so they were hoping and thought that at the time we went in and stained, that we would recognize that. They brought that to my attention, went in and we checked footings. They do have animals, however, this is more of a footing stabilizer issue. And so they definitely need to get that fencing changed out. Again, they do have animals, but this is definitely beyond what we don't want to wait until October to get this taken care of.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the Sagamore fence proposal 8307 in the amount of?
$7,120.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion, Director Young?
No discussion.
Johnson?
So this is just for the 23rd behind, obviously 2314 Susan?
Yes, this will only be for that area specifically, and it has been stained, and they will actually come back and restain at no additional cost, considering they should have brought that to our attention beforehand.
Yeah, I see that there. Okay. Thank you.
Director Roberts?
Yeah, this is definitely for future discussion, but I mentioned it to Lisa today. I think, since the district spends a lot of money repairing fence that people's residents' dogs and things do damage to, I would like for the board to look at maybe establishing a policy on these fences and the repairs, instead of us, the taxpayer, covering damage that's being done by their animals or whatever it may be. But for stabilizing, it's just something down the road, I think we ought to look at.
I think we should explore.
So is this one, you said there's a stabilizing fence, or is there just one fence?
The resident put up an actual fence behind this one just to keep it up for aesthetic purposes, so
Oh.
it's already, the footings, like I said, given away.
Okay,
So we definitely wanna replace this one.
okay.
So can I, a little clarity? So the resident put the fence up because, I guess, was the original issue our fence was failing?
Yes.
Or the original issue was the animals that caused the fence to fail? Like, which is chicken or the egg?
Our fence is failing, they have an erosion slope,
Got
and
it.
so that caused the footings. They do have animals, they weren't a help to that. He put a stabilizer in to keep his animals back away from the fence itself. But I do agree with Director Roberts, I think using the spyglass system, we'll be able to go in, document this information, and let's say 5 years from now, they come back and say, hey, this fence is at a detriment, we can definitely chalk it up to probably more of an animal issue as opposed to it being footings or so forth.
Thank you, that was the clarity.
Okay, good. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed, any abstain?
Abstain.
Okay, we are going on to, backing up to number 5, which is Livingston County. Thank you for your patience.
It's like I forgot about them.
Oh, never.
I really don't have anything to really add. The 4th of July event did go a lot better this year. Putting up that orange netting around there prevented people from parking on the grass, so that was awesome. I also think blocking off the roadway was great too. It made traffic a lot easier for people to walk there, so that was awesome. The only one thing is we did have like a 4-year-old lost, but only for like 5 minutes, and then while we were getting the information, we're like, oh, is that her right over there? So I was like, it was good, we found her, so, that was really the only thing that we had for the 4th of July.
Great.
But I thought it went really well.
Somebody said there was an ambulance right at Autry and Blockhouse Drive, right when everybody was leaving. Do you know anything about that?
I don't.
They said there were emergency vehicles there, and I was like, oh, I don't know, I won't.
There was, no,
I
there was 2 police cars there.
Maybe
with their
that's what
lights
got
on,
everybody
just to
confused.
make sure everybody was slowing down and going around that curve.
Yeah, because I walked across it and didn't, I mean, my family all went and there wasn't any, but somebody said, oh, there was, something happened there, maybe it was that.
Yeah, because 2 deputies were right there to make sure to slow all the traffic going around that curve, and they were standing right there by the vehicles, and they had their lights on, not flashing,
I
but
figured
just
you would
on.
have said something if there had been an emergency.
A lot of people walked, I noticed this year.
Yes, it was really.
Yeah, I had a little baby with me, so we had to park in the parking lot, but it took forever to get out because
Yeah.
there's so many people parking, so that was great. Thank you for all your help there. Okay, anything else going on?
I can't think of anything else. I don't remember seeing anything of note.
Okay.
Quick question, we're gonna be talking about neighborhood watch later in in today's meeting, but, one of the things that we talked about last month when you weren't here, was the bonfire down by the cliff. And we can't expect Crossroads to keep an eye on, wait for somebody to get caught, now they can go pick it up or clean it up when it's done. Then there's the patrols that you guys do, which sometimes you're on, sometimes you're not. You were on that night for a little while, but then, gone before we could. I wanna catch these guys. Right? What are your thoughts on the gap that we've got with regards to maybe neighborhood watch? Have you guys worked with them in neighborhoods? What?
I haven't personally worked with them, maybe our community liaison people have. I know we have a tip line for, stuff like that, but, I mean, if you guys wanna put a community watch team together, I mean, the only thing is, if they see something, tell them to call the sheriff's office, not one of us, because if we're not working, then.
Right, and if you are working, then you'll get the call.
Exactly, yeah. Then dispatch will call us, and then we'll be able to go over there and handle it.
Okay, we're in the very beginning steps of this, so we'll probably need some help and make sure it gets implemented correct if we do go down that road.
Y'all have training on it.
Okay.
Okay, anything else for Deputy Lovato? Okay, thank you, Deputy. We have, number 6 is the amendment to standard agreement with local government entity regarding off-duty contracting of county law enforcement agency deputies. Sean?
Motion to approve.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I'll give a quick overview here.
Pretty simple.
It just changes the rental rate on the vehicles. I think it went up either $1 or $2 per hour.
Okay, did I ask any discussion?
You did.
You did?
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone abstain?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you didn't say no, did you?
I said I don't abstain.
Don't.
I guess when you ask me to abstain,
No,
I
I
wish
know.
Director Young would just say I abstain instead of
Yeah.
calling for the abstain.
I know.
That's throwing me
Whatever.
off.
It's fine.
We'll make it through. Okay,
Sorry.
number 7, closure of park gates on weeknights and weekends, including independent contractor agreement weekday gate openings. Lisa?
So we actually did meet with Sean. We had a quick, brief overview with the PR Communications Subcommittee. Sean, do you want to go into?
Sure, yeah, and it was a fairly holistic discussion about preferences and basically different options. And we identified basically 4 solutions here, right? So we have historically had Williamson County's guys lock the gates. And I think we recognize that happened most of the time. Maybe not every single evening. There was at least one preference expressed that would be fine if we occasionally do this in the evening. We recognize we've got some Crossroads folks doing it now, and that there's a contracting option there in order to do that. There was a idea for not maybe to have someone else be engaged, a resident or volunteer in order to lock the gates. And also, there was some sentiment for not locking the gates at all. And so we kind of had a wide spectrum of ideas. I don't know that there was a favorite per se. I think the subcommittee was kind of tasked with bringing back an idea to go forward with, and instead I think maybe the horizon kind of expanded. So that's kind of the report back. I would kind of open it up to you guys for questions or discussion.
Do we have that contract from Crossroads? Because I know that there were some tweaks that needed to be made on that.
Sean, did you get that over to you? Did you get that from that?
I don't have it with me tonight, only because it was our thought after our subcommittee meeting that we would report back on the discussion.
Okay, I mean, we don't really have a motion, unless anybody has a motion.
I'd like to share a little bit, I don't know that we need to vote on anything right now, but I would like to discuss it.
Go ahead.
We right now are paying for unlocking the gates in the morning through Crossroads. Travis does it on non-holidays, not weekends. And then Crossroads contracts out for a resident that has worked for Crossroads before to do the unlocking during the holidays and weekends. The Williamson County Sheriff's Department, they have been doing it as a favor to us, but they can't be relied on to get it locked when we're expecting it or when we want it locked. But I believe they're happy to do it when there's somebody on patrol and when it's on time, or maybe even a little bit afterwards, right? And they have not been charging us any extra on that. If we want to have the gates locked at the same time every night or like reliably, we're looking at getting another contractor. It's going to be $45 a day for going around the neighborhood.
Locking for open enclosed or just?
That'll just be like locking them up at night. But that will get us a consistent, they're getting locked as we expect. Now, that's quite a bit of money. My direction on that is instead of spending more money on locking the gates, let's invest a little bit more in the video cameras, getting data put up into the cloud so that it can be reviewed. We've had, I feel, a great deal of success with that. With Humano, we had a lot of dumping going on there. Travis spent a lot of time, finding a pile of something, going over the video, finding out who it was, and I don't know that we've had any dumping going on there. So I think that if we're gonna expand our budget or anything like that, we need to consider moving more into like the video and catching people, maybe putting a trail cam over by the cliff, because there's always a lot of mischief going on there in Humano. Maybe cameras where people are walking into Humano, right there at the, basically Black Cattle Drive where they can just walk in there. That's where they're generally coming and going anytime I'm playing disc golf.
Sure.
But we're looking at several $1,000s a year to get them locked consistently on time. One of the options that I've also proposed is let's consider just locking the Humano gate. We can get a contractor, resident with that, $25 a night, to get that one locked. That one's a little bit different as far as going back there. My thoughts on that are, the police, when that gate gets locked, they don't tend to go past that gate and go look for mischief going on there unless there's some sort of report, right? If the gate was open, they would be more likely to go back there, not have to abandon their car too far away. What are your thoughts on that as far as like you guys checking out?
If we get a call in a specific area, it doesn't matter how far it is, if we have to walk, we walk. So that's.
Okay, and but then again, that park is closed at dusk. And so a lot of good people walking in the park, they're not gonna break the law, go walk back there and see the bad people back there starting the bonfires and stuff, right? So, but on a call, you would go back there, but if there's not a call, you just go back there, right?
Yeah, we would, I mean, there would be no reason for us. Are you talking about like us in general or an actual patrol deputy?
You guys, the security patrol that Black House is paying to Williamson County Sheriff's Department, your team.
Yeah, the majority of the time, whenever we go back and walk there, it's usually before we lock the gates, and then when we're actually locking the gates, we'll do a walkthrough, and then on our way out, we lock the gates.
When you're locking the gates, you are being paid a fee, correct? I mean, because you are on the hour at that time?
Yes.
It's part of your hourly fee. So there is still money that is being spent patrol/gate locking, it's not like.
Yeah.
And then if you're called away from your house because nobody's available and you go and log it, you're charging that to the district, right?
No, I don't ever put it on my time sheet.
All right.
But I think last month we said he should be.
I know,
Okay,
but I mean.
yeah, I know. Okay, so Director Young, do you have a motion?
No motion.
Sorry.
Director Johnson?
Well, it's a fascinating topic because I think that when we consider the gates, it kind of has to be facility by facility or park by park. Because, when I started thinking about it more and more, like this one, we locked Tumlinson, Walker's open. The BMX thing over there, right, we locked that one, but the Walker House parking lot's right across the street. Now, Jumano, like you said, Director Young, that one's more preventative because you gotta hike to go create mischief now, right? You can't get back there.
A lot of mischief is the hikers though.
Sure, but I mean, but like here, I don't know that these gates are keeping them, because all you have to do is walk across the street or across this little grassy field right here. So I guess looking at it more park by park would probably be a good idea. Tinkawa is an interesting kind of in the middle because there's parking along the street, but, so anyway, I just think that when we think it through, we gotta consider not no gates or all gates, I think it's more.
Big park.
Yeah, because like what value would we get from each one? I think that's the consideration. Locking it, what is it giving us?
Director Roberts?
Yeah, because I was on that call too. So it's an additional $16,425 a year to add somebody $45 a day, 365 days a year. So I think that's a lot of money when there's really not been that big of an issue with the deputies including that in their security patrols, because they're coming in, they're checking the locks on the gates, the Tumlinson Park, the Walker House, it's kind of pushing them into the parks to check things. I think y'all check the Hamano building as well when you go back there, am I correct? So their agreement is a security agreement, which is they're part of their job, and it always has been since their inception of taking this role. I think that it adds a lot of benefit. The gates were installed for a specific reason, and that is to let people know, guess what? This park is not open. Yes, the Walker House, because of the kiosk and because of the 10 o'clock, people playing tennis and pickleball and all that, it's kind of a loop thing. And that's why the cameras initially were installed here in this section of the Tumlinson Park, was to kind of detour a little bit of that. I think cameras are fine, but I also think there's a specific reason for the gates being secured. It sort of leaves a message that, guess what? That parking lot is not available. Now, I think because there are residents that are close to Tonkawa and Tumlinson and in Hamano, those residents back there, I think this would be in good faith for the district to continue to provide that security for those people. There are no houses backing right here to Walker House. They're gonna come in, that trail back there, we've had fires set back there over the years. We've had people somebody had a picnic and left all their trash there the other day, but that's just what they're going to do. It doesn't matter how many gates or what kind of a fence you put up, they're going to find a way in. Same thing, they found a way into the Walker House, surprise, surprise, after all these years. I think that we treat all parks equally and not just specifically lock one park. I don't think that's fair to the residents, because that's our job. So I personally am an advocate to continue doing the way it is and to continue using the deputies, because I ask, how many times have they missed the gates? The average is maybe 2 times a month that a deputy is unable to secure that gate. And I think that, if it's that and there's been no issue, thank God we've got the cameras, I just think we should leave status quo.
Okay. Director Shoemaker.
Could I just get some clarification?
No, we're gonna go around the table and then I
Well,
also
'cause
have follow-up questions.
Because I think,
Neither
then
of
you
us
should
have
ask her
talked
back,
yet.
but I think, well, let me say a piece, I think you might bear on what you're gonna ask, because
But we're gonna go around separate.
yes, but this is, I think to Director Johnson's point, I think there is some issue with difference of the gates. I will be honest, it sounds like from my time on the board, my time watching as a resident on the board and living more on that side of the neighborhood, these issues seem to revolve very heavily around Jumano. And I think that, to my point about we should have a work group about Jumano, what needs to be done back there with the scouts and the community garden and the disc golf users and the deputies and Crossroads, that I think there's a question on, is the gate in the right place? Is, the whole access back there is a problem. Because to the point Director Robert here is making is that, or Young's making is that, this is not a knock on y'all, but y'all on patrol control the whole neighborhood, right? We can't expect you guys to bail out and walk all the way back to the building every time you drive by to check if you have no report of activity, right? That's not fair to you, it's not a good use of your time. But the flip side is, because where that gate is sited, let's be honest, that gate does not deter anybody walking, it doesn't deter anybody on a motorbike or an ATV, right?
Yeah.
If you wanna wheel, junk, we need to have a broader discussion with that particular park about the effectiveness of that gate, where it's located, who's gonna lock it, because we have people back there who have legitimate reasons later in the day, earlier in the morning, and I think that, again, with the level of complaint we get about that, also about people getting locked in, people getting locked out, have y'all go look at it, having Crossroads look at it.
Bolts getting busted.
Whole 9 yards, vandalism, fires, misuse, homeless people. Again, let's have a work group with everybody, an actual meeting, where we talk about that on purpose. And so, sorry, not to cut you off, I think that what I said was gonna have some very good thoughts, so.
Okay,
I'll let
so-
Director, the chairwoman let it go.
So you said it was like an additional 16,000. Did you factor out, we're already paying $45? Because we're already paying some people $45 an hour, the weekend.
Well, this was I thought it was just to close the gates. Am I correct? Because the contract in the morning is included in a parks fee.
And Al closes gates on the weekend.
On just the weekend.
Okay, so I was just trying to see if that was the true number, or maybe
This
that's.
was just for closing.
Okay, the other thing, one of the reasons we brought this up is because when we met with Deputy Lovato, was it Captain David? He was the one that actually recommended that we stop doing this. And, he had some thoughts on some other neighborhoods. And, actually, there's a better use of their time in the neighborhood, and so that's why we did start pursuing it a little bit more. So it really came out of our discussion from that meeting.
I think what he meant was not necessarily that we have to stop doing it, just that if we didn't get to it, it's not like a high priority for him.
Right.
But I don't think, because if I remember correctly, he said, if they're still willing to do it, then that's great.
Yeah,
And
but
then that was.
did you say like that you guys don't do it in other neighborhoods or something?
No, we don't do it in any.
Yeah, any other neighborhood. So I think there does need to be a broader discussion, like Director Shoemaker said, and Director Johnson, you brought some ideas. I'm gonna go around the table one more time. Director Young.
This might be something that we loop into the neighborhood watch if we do that. And then I'm just asking Director Roberts for clarification on all parks. Are you proposing that we gate Walker House, maybe put the kiosk in a place where it can be
No, it's the
accessed?
gates, the parks that are gated.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I got around the room. Director Johnson, you have anything?
Yes,
You're
well,
off on you.
sorry, just to clarify, I think, points Director Roberts made, I think we have 2 questions when we consider this, right? It's what do we do, which is two separate questions,
Mhm.
not,
Yeah, and I'm just gonna, as a witness to what, the reason it started, a lot of it was because I live right over here and I have all these residents here and we observed a lot of illegal activity going in. They like to pull in the parks and do it, you know, yes, the cameras were not there, but the cameras don't deter a lot of people. I mean, they're still gonna do their activity. And so that's the safety for all the residents, like you've got them in Tonkawa, you have them in Hamano, and you've got them here at Tomlinson, the people that live across the street from these parks. And I don't do this for Cecilia, I do this for the whole residents and for all of them.
Okay, Director Schumacher,
No
anything
further
else?
comments.
Can we agree to insist that Deputy Lovato, if he does come out here and lock all the gates, that he does charge us an hour for that, because we are getting security patrol for that hour?
We did instruct him last month.
if,
I think we all agree on that, right?
if you weren't out here anyway. It's one thing if you're here, if you have to come out here just to do that.
But again, so another reason why I don't is because a lot of times I'm in my personal truck, and then the sheriff's office can't track
Your
me
mileage.
because I'm in my personal vehicle, and there's already been issues with people not being where they're supposed to be when they say they're working, and there's no way to verify that. So that's why if I'm already out and I just stop by, it doesn't take me that long to do it.
Yeah, if you're out to dinner with your family and you just need to swing by, you wanna go pick up your county vehicle.
Let's work on that, we might still have.
All right, we'll work on it, okay.
We'll figure it out, I think.
So, I guess put this on the agenda, it sounds like it needs to be a work session, and I believe I heard somebody say maybe incorporate into the whole Humano, program, so we will do that. What number was that?
That was 7.
Oh, 7, okay, so 8, 9, 10, we're done that, okay, volunteer work, 11, within the district. Who put this on?
I think Director Johnson may have mentioned it a couple of months ago, when we discussed.
Need more of a memory job than me.
Would you like
I think it
Tom
was a-
Sawyer
I
projects?
think
like
it
we
was
did
our
before?
special meeting that we had with Director Young about trees being planted, and we had discussed in general having.
What I had said in that meeting was just that, you know, I don't think it's a decision to be made today, but just to get everybody thinking about it. You know, I love that we have neighbors participating, my family has done that with some of the creek cleanup, my wife coordinated with Director Bennett and on that, and so, but there just needs to be some balance between, I do not want in any way, shape, or form, every little activity that happens from a volunteer to come through this board. It's highly ineffective and inefficient, however, at the same time, I get very uncomfortable when people who aren't on the board are making decisions about what happens to the infrastructure of the neighborhood. And I don't have an immediate solution, other than I think we need to work out some, you know, policy or infrastructure to where we can give them guidance that the structure that all of the neighborhood needs them to have with the freedom that they need to have, the flexibility. So I don't have a solution immediately, nothing to vote on, but.
Okay, is cannot be punted to a subcommittee on, oh.
No, please don't do that.
Yeah, we'll go around the table, Director Roberts.
So it sounds like that we just need some type of a structure or understanding on how we bring in volunteers.
How we bring them in, and also, I don't wanna use like a specific thing, but like if they were, let's say we had volunteers working on Chance Field to redo it, or not redo it now, but before, yeah. If they wanna make a decision about expanding the infield, there needs to be a balance between, right, that would be a bad decision, but something else that's a little more vanilla, but, I don't want them coming to us with every little decision, but I don't also want them changing the infrastructure of the neighborhood without our input, so that's the crux of it.
Director Shoemaker?
Just a quick thought, David, Director Johnson, being honest, an easy thing I can think of here is if you wanna plant trees, we could probably have Lisa detail a trip to have a list of locations that are suitable for certain size and type of tree. And if people have, coordination with informing Lisa on the trip, right? But, there might be some tasks that, in accordance with our contractors, we can put it out there. I mean, things are easily, pick up trash, or go clean up the litter, right? But for things more above that, like the trees are easy, I think of like, I'm sure Trip has a list of places that need trees, suitable size and type, right? Whether people are growing them in the neighborhood or buying them or donating them, right? That seems like a do that thing, not too hard, right? It's a little harder with things like other cleanup, because one, liability, right? People get hurt. The two, that also, well, we need to, you need to take this out or that out, right? But maybe perhaps for things that, on behalf of the vendors, that they think are pretty clearly delineable, like maybe perhaps that could be a place to start of like a task list almost of things that, volunteers could help with, but that are pretty easy to be like, oh, we need a tree plant in this location, it has to be this size and one of these types. Okay, if they can put the tree together and go plant it, set up a time, like, why should it matter as long as Trip's aware? I mean, that's a thought, we could do further work on.
So what we have seen, like with the community garden, it really works well for them to work with the GM. And, they'll like, hey, we need more soil, or we're gonna do this forest area. And so she has worked with them, so there's no big surprises when they added, a couple more in-ground, beds or anything like that. And I think disc golf is supposed to talk to you as well, right? Like if they have any plans or.
Yes.
And like pickleball, like doesn't Cynthia reach out to you if they have anything? So I think that's probably a good way. And then she can alert the subcommittee if there's something that she's concerned about.
So one of the items that actually was brought up was by Director Young in regards to trees being planted. It was a volunteer event. I was told as the general manager that I could make that decision for people to go out into Germano and plant trees. I was reluctant because as a GM, I felt more as though because we hadn't actually discussed with a landscaper or an arborist about places where trees should be planted at, especially on a designed course that a lot of money was spent on, to actually just go out and plant anywhere. I felt it was more of like sending residents out into, another city park. I know City of Cedar Park wouldn't just like somebody showing up and saying, I think a tree should go here, this looks good. And so I was a little bit reluctant, like I said, to kind of give that authority to let residents go out in a group to kind of just plant trees wherever.
So could we ask for, since I raised that point, could we ask for the, our landscape folks to perhaps help put together a list? And
Absolutely.
I assume they've got a list of places where we've lost trees that have not been replaced.
Yes, 100%, yes.
So that way, it's not, because I understand your reluctance to make decisions unilaterally, I don't think we're trying to force that on you.
Sure.
Because like I said, it's not your job to know where the trees need to go.
Okay, it's Director Young.
So let me talk about the disc golf course for a little while, and volunteer work and such. GM is not a disc golf course design expert. I get that, right? The people that play on that course see the faults with it. For one, we've got a bench back there that the district paid for. The bench faces no direction that anybody would ever want to sit there for any reason, right? It faces away from basket 4 and it faces away from basket 8, but yet it's right next to the tee boxes for both of them. It's right by the bare trash can, right? That bench would be better positioned somewhere else, right? So if what I've done with the garden community is I've asked for 3 of them, 3 different gardeners, right? Not living under the same roof, to become like the committee for asking GM for improvements, right? That way you're not gonna get 3 people that are asking for something ridiculous, right? You're gonna get, they gotta agree, then it goes through Lisa, and Lisa could be like, it's ridiculous, that's a great idea, let it go, right? Let's go ahead and do it. Same thing with the disc golf. There are 3 disc golfers willing to volunteer to kind of advise, and like, we'd like this bench to be moved around. Now, before we joined the board, the district was paying over $7,000 a year for John Huck to advise, and let's take this branch down, or let's plant it. Well, he wasn't ever like planting trees or anything like that, but we were paying quite a bit of money. There are volunteer disc golfers that know how to keep the integrity of the course and improve it we don't have to pay them. They're gonna put their love into it, right? I would like to enable them, 3 of them, and if somebody moves out of town or whatever, they need to recruit another one. But they're gonna be doing community volunteer projects. Like, one of the things that that was done is we have some, telephone poles that are oozing with.
Creosote.
Yeah,
Kinda like stuff.
and so one of the disc golfers just put some slats on top of it so that you could sit on it without staining your clothes, right? But what I'd like is the 3 disc golfer team to say, hey, let's send this up to Lisa. Lisa can be like, yeah, that makes sense, and she can give it the okay.
Go ahead, Director Johnson.
So that's a great, I mean, that could be the solution, right? I mean, Director Shoemaker's idea of in certain circumstances, because your idea about the trees works for picking up, like putting down trees, but where it came up was taking down trees or cutting branches, right? And that's where I got nervous is letting people, but I like the idea that might work of, they come to Lisa, Lisa can say yes, right? Or Lisa can say no, you need, that needs to go before the board. And that would be kind of a way to have Lisa gatekeep the issues that we don't need to decide on, and we'll tell them no if the answer needs to be no, or if Lisa thinks the answer needs to be no, then we can weigh in. That might be the balancing act.
Anybody that wants to put a recommendation in for the disc golf course goes to Lisa, is like, hey, we really need more benches or whatever.
Right.
Then she could say, go talk to the disc golf little committee, here are the names of the people, talk to them, and then maybe you guys can start a new volunteer project and put more benches in, or whatever it is.
We could also, my last thought before, is that we could also put a threshold for Lisa to say, if it goes beyond this, even if you wanna say yes, we need to see it anyway. Right, so that way we don't put
Okay,
everything.
did you already speak?
I didn't, I actually just asked a question and I
Okay.
answered, but.
Oh, so sorry.
That's okay, so my comment is that we're focusing on like tree planting, but I think there needs to be like a policy, and that the board does have approval in anything that alters the parks. And I don't think it's fair for Lisa to be the only decision maker in some of these, because then there may be a board member that come in and go, Lisa, we didn't like what you just approved. So she's in the hot box for this. I think we need to establish some type of a policy, and maybe just a requisite or something that they come in and say, here's some changes. I mean, the district taxpayers paid a lot of money to put that disc golf in, and it got modified by volunteers. And so and John Hunt doesn't want his name on it anymore. And so I think that's a shame. And so, because it kind of got out of control of whatever happened, and I think, it wouldn't be right for baseball teams to come in and alter the field when we just spent a lot of money. So I think anything that is a major alteration to anything in the parks should come through Lisa, but then Lisa bring it to the board. I think there needs to be a
Director
policy.
Shoemaker?
To be clear on
Did you talk?
I spoke earlier, but I do have a comment, I think based on what Director Young said, Director Johnson, Director Roberts, like, I'll just say one. First, I'll just really want, nothing personal against John Hutt, but I don't believe he's a constituent, so I understand he wishes to have his rights to control and his work right, but at the end of the day, I worry more with the residents who use the course feel, and I understand Mr. Huck's disappointed, but very politely, it's not terribly my concern what his feelings are.
Well, it wasn't my comment, it's just that we used his design.
Okay, thank you, and my follow-up comment to Director Roberts' comment with the subcommittee, having an advisory committee is not a bad idea, but that is definitely something I would like the whole board to have some input of who's on these advisory committees, because not to formalize it and bog it down, but that if we're gonna direct residents to talk to an advisory committee, as a board member, I'd like to have some input on like who is on there, right, and know who they are, so like, oh yes, we've talked to this person, they've come down and visited with us. But I do think that having an advisory committee to make recommendations could definitely take workload off of Lisa and off us, because people could actually try to work through some of this stuff, talking through it at a level below us, right? That's a common thing in government, having advisory committees. This board has never used them really in the past very much, so I mean, maybe trying to start formalizing a couple of these in a general way might be a good start. To Director Johnson, I guess Director Arnold, like also like, that's the point I made about with tripping the trees, that was an easy one to pick on. But I think that the more permanent it is, yes, we need to have it run up to the board. But I think my thought is that there's clearly things that can be done that in conjunction with our existing contractors who are professionals, they can identify to have someone else do the work, right? And that's kind of like, that's the easiest, in my opinion, lowest hanging fruit, right? If the contractor's gonna identify we can do this work, and we could charge you thousands of dollars for it, or volunteers could do it for much less, but where we only pay for materials. We should probably run with those. I would think that if we wanna have eventually have a policy, maybe having a policy where things that perhaps require like, concrete footings or permanent alterations to structures.
Yeah.
Might be an easy place to draw the line for board approval, right? So if people wanna, move a bench, they can talk to us about it, because they're gonna have to dig it up and replant it. But, if someone wants to, the creosote one, I kinda understand the desire to modify that. No one's gonna wanna sit in tar. I don't know if you can run that to the board, like, hey, can someone put slats, they don't get covered in tar sitting on a piece of telephone pole? It seems a little silly for us to have to ask, but so I think maybe from this discussion, I think maybe if we wanna, I can make a suggestion, we maybe task Lisa to ask the other contractors, you don't have to do it, that if they have items they think need to be done, that can be done by unskilled labor or volunteers, to perhaps identify them for us, so that way perhaps we can get a start on some of this stuff without having to have you do all the legwork, because you have enough other stuff going on, and at the end of the day, they're the ones who are gonna know what can be done. So that'd be, if we offer, as a result, I'd offer a directive to Lisa to ask the other contractors to come back with a list of things.
Okay, so, like I stated, we already have these advisory committees with the community garden, with disc golf, and with pickleball. And they've been working great, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know. I haven't really heard any concerns. And they're working directly with the GM. So they are coming to her with ideas. So that is working well. My second point I want to make is, I remember looking at volunteers a while ago, just how to run them. And Wells Branch, who is a respectable mud and has a lot of policies, they have, I recall, a really good volunteer policy. So it might be worth, I'm happy to pull it down and look at it and maybe tweak it to fit our needs. Because I think we do need to have, and maybe it's not a policy, but it's a guidelines, something to kind of help us, okay?
Yeah.
So let's, does anybody else have anything?
No.
Okay, good. Let's keep this on the agenda and move forward. Is that good? Okay. We are on number 12, which is the disc golf night event. So after one of our events, disc golf, some of the disc golfers had asked if they could do a golf night. And I know they've been doing it sometimes anyways, but it's, we wanna see if we can't give them just official, like, hey, you're clear to go ahead and do a disc night game. And we are looking at the full moon. Full moon, I believe, is 19th, which is a Monday, and Gia called me the other night, I was thinking about doing December 8th, or August 18th.
August 19th.
I think we'll remove it to 18th,
Okay.
just because it's a Sunday night.
Okay.
So,
September?
August,
August.
yeah. So, I'll make a motion to approve to allow the disc golfers to have, a disc golf night on August 18th. It's nothing like we're giving away prizes, or, it's just to let them officially do it, and to let you all know.
Is there an end time?
We can figure that out. I mean, I don't know when they're usually ending, but I can ask Kid.
I think if we're gonna be locking the gates up after them, then we should know, don't lock that gate on that night.
I'm actually gonna play with them, so I could take the, responsibility of locking that gate that night, if you guys aren't on, yeah.
What were the 2 dates again?
It's just me, August 18th.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I
Give
don't,
you a heads up again before.
I don't have a second on my motion.
Oh, second, sorry.
Okay,
Or if you make who made the motion?
I did.
Okay.
Discussion, Director Young.
No, that's good.
Director Roberts.
No comment.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody abstain?
Staying.
Okay, and we are on, improvement to Humano Community Center.
Can we put that to budget time?
I think that's a great idea.
Or could we also, have
What's
a
going on?
discussion, move it to the work, if you have a work group
Yeah,
day
let's do the
about
work.
Jumano?
I think this, Robert, came out of when we were talking about having the, Christmas event here, and then you went into a discussion about the community center and how you'd like to see it used, and I said if we need to continue that discussion, we need to put it on the agenda, so that's why it's there. So do we wanna move it to the budget?
Yeah, and I don't think we need a whole lot of money there, but repainting those gaudy, walls in the air conditioning side would be nice, and
Okay.
I wouldn't mind bringing my tiling cutter and helping do some tiling if we wanted a nicer floor there, but it's got a lot of potential to be a very excellent building. There's a sink there, refrigerator, bathroom,
Okay, so we'll pin that to the next, okay.
Thank you. Number 14, Boy Scouts of America, I think we already decided, how we're gonna move forward on that.
Yep.
So is that good? We're gonna meet and go from there, so.
Sure.
Cool. Number 15, report from Amenity Subcommittee, I put, a recap in the, packet.
Mhm.
You can read that. 16, PR Communications, anything under special events?
I don't have anything under special events. I do have, can I go into the newsletter?
Yeah, please.
Don't have anything for special events on the newsletter. I want to bring to your attention that the contract that I have actually states that I should be creating a draft and getting that draft over to PR Communications for publication. I've actually submitted the last two without being able to get that draft over to the subcommittee. We are working with 622 Studios for them to understand our timeline. And I also am working with another contractor, Triton, who actually Cecilia and I met out at AWBD. I'll bring them back to a future board meeting. You will see your August newsletter out. Actually, at the end of this week, we'll go ahead and post that.
That looks good.
All right. Okay, number 17, resident survey.
Resident survey, I was not able to get it into your supplement packet. You will find the information there at the table in front of you.
And what's in the supplement?
It's
Or
right
it was
here,
in your email?
right here in front of you.
It's right here in front of you.
Yeah, it's also in my email.
Yes, I did email it out to you all, but it wasn't able to get into Nancy's supplemental packet. So that information is there. If you all have any questions, it's for your reading.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for doing that, I think there's some good stuff in here.
Yeah,
I'd like us to consider park hour change. Can we put that on the agenda and discuss between the results and what we might wanna change? Are there any other policies, trash pickups, anything else? Can we just maybe, have an item where we've been able to absorb all this information? And then we can discuss any changes, proposed changes?
well, there's not that many questions, why don't we just put all these resident survey, A, B, C, D, E, and put all the ones down there, and we can just,
Well,
approve, disapprove.
well, I was gonna say, I think the one I think of that we might need follow-up from, parks we can discuss ourselves as policy on our end, right? The trash stuff, we need some input from TDS about costs and options, because that is interesting to me about which is, I suspected this was gonna be the ultimate answer, right? That you're gonna see people who wanna do more bulk drop off and people want more curbside.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
But that's my only comment about, the other ones we can talk about ourselves are policies, this is that one we need some kind of input from TDS about costs of changing service.
Right, and not to dive into specific items, but a lot of, some of them, like the sheriff's department, would be a budget item, so we'd wanna, I don't know that we need to move on that before budget season, but, and then, the results are fascinating. This is what I was hoping for personally when we started to do the survey, to see certain items where clearly, there's overwhelming support or not for something, versus ones,
Like closing a sundown, but
Right,
the
that-
majority of the.
exactly, or, where it's really close
It's
and,
very close,
and the
yeah.
citizens,
Right.
because you gotta keep in mind that
Factor in,
quarter of them.
you have over 8,000 residents.
Right,
And you
well,
had
21.
6,575.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right, so,
Still the best we've ever had, and what I found interesting is, several people skipped some, and next time, let's not allow them to skip one.
well, that's tricky only because you can let them not, you can force them to
Force
do
it
it and
to
not
be.
submit. The only problem is, they might, if we force them to answer it, they might junk up our survey with, they don't care, so they just clicked one.
Yeah, I
So we
just
just
thought
have
that
to
was
wait that-
interesting.
Yeah, it is fascinating to see
Okay,
which one.
so
is
let's
good.
get something on the agenda for next time, if that's okay. So that was 16, A, B, and 17. 18, restrictive covenants, we're gonna move that towards the end, because I think we have to go into executive on that.
Yes,
We
we
did
have
finance
came from the
and
committee report.
audit, we, 23, I don't think we're really ready to talk about, a bank account for market days at the community garden. We're having this market day and everybody's selling their own produce that they've, done, but we're thinking about maybe a $10 entry fee for people who are coming in, having little tents that are selling coffee or, whatever. Because the community garden is trying to raise their own funds to help with soil and different things. So I think, did we talk to you about it? talked to Tyler about how we could actually have a separate bank account. I don't think we've really finalized how we can do that, so just know there's more to come on that guy. Right, Johnson?
Yes.
Okay. Report from Finance and Audit Subcommittee. We don't really have anything. We're just-
Your report is the memo from the finance subcommittee, I also included that in front of you. It didn't make it to the supplement packet. so-
And we will be looking at dates for, special meetings for the budget coming up. Okay, and then we're on we did 26.
Oh, no,
Third.
28.
So I don't think we did 27.
Yeah, are we not doing 27?
No, it's tabled. Sorry, I didn't say that out loud.
27 we didn't do.
Yeah, so we're gonna table 27, so
And
we
then-
25, 26, and 28, we're tabling 27, thank you.
28 we did vote on.
We did.
Yes, we did, yep, we did that.
Okay, report from Texas Disposal Systems, in the report. Stormwater Management Program, it's in the report. Report from Services Subcommittee, do you all have anything screaming?
There's a memo that's in the packet.
Yeah.
I don't think we had anything that really needed.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, report from the General Manager.
My memo's in the packet, if you guys have any questions.
Okay, request for facilities, did we do all those for?
Yeah, we didn't have
Yes.
anything else.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm kind of curious, all of our subcommittee meetings have been canceled. I don't know, who knows what's going on? And I was thinking maybe we would find out now.
we're not under subcommittees, but we can talk about that when we get under, let's move
Well, it
subcommittees.
was the GM that canceled those.
I sent an email out to let y'all know that my scheduling, so for scheduling, I wasn't able to make some of those meetings, but you are welcome to meet with your other subcommittee member. For my contract, I don't actually have, areas where I actually need to perform subcommittee meetings, so it's just a, a caveat to me
Yeah.
helping you guys out, but y'all are welcome to get together and
Yeah.
get back to me if y'all
I
have
think you're still doing the finance and the,
restricted covenants
Yeah.
for able to
Yeah.
attend those, yeah.
Yeah, and then Amy covered us on,
Yes.
bars, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
sorry. I was sorry, I misunderstood, I think I heard the question wrong.
Yeah, no worries.
okay, neighborhood watch, we already talked about that. Chicken coops.
So Robert had asked me to do a little bit of due diligence relating to chicken coops. I have a little handout here. I had some preliminary conversations with Kathy Mitchell with Liquidity Engineering. Kathy does Liquidity is your MS4 work, and Kathy is the primary contact there. So BMP is the acronym that's used in here. Those are best management practices. And so Kathy has confirmed, I think I reported to you guys last month, that there would be potential MS4 considerations. As a refresher reminder, you are under the 2019 MS4 right now, and there are all sort of drainage and runoff disclosures and various information that goes into those reports that are reviewed and approved by the TCEQ. So Kathy is saying, yes, likely you'd have to have some best management practices and recognize any chicken coop that's going to be in Jumano. And she has included some information here with regards to putting those BMPTs together, different considerations relating to them. Very soft cost estimate in here in terms of what that might look like, and just kind of some general information. Happy to answer any questions. I think the next thing would be just, if you guys are interested, I don't know what the costs are relating to the chicken coop, and I think it would kind of depend. I think Kathy didn't do a hard quote here because I don't think they've ever actually done this before, and she's kind of throwing out ideas and outlining possibilities. So she did quote a few hard costs in here in terms of some signage, and straw erosion control logs, but other than that, it'd be just assembling the BMPs and inclusion in your 2024 MS4 plan that's going to be submitted later.
I'm sorry, what's a BMP?
Best management practice.
Okay, and then there's stuff in there like logs, but that's stuff that they could come up with, right? I know that one of the resident gardeners tore down a tree of theirs and donated all the logs to the.
So these are straw, this is more of your standard erosion control item.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think, a lot of times you see those in home building where it's like fence that has the black, it's not felt, but yeah.
They're straw rolled up.
Okay.
It's like the
Kind of
things
like
that, when they're doing the waterfront,
Okay.
yeah.
They're straw rolled up like logs.
Yeah.
This is very expensive.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve chicken coops?
Are we voting?
Yeah, I didn't have this as a decision item.
Well,
Okay, oh, we didn't, it's not on there?
No, that's why I was
Okay.
like, I was gonna
Okay.
ask, like, wait a second, what are we doing, because it's on the agenda as informational.
So then let's go ahead and keep it on the agenda for next month. You guys do some,
We can share this with
Research
the garden community, the people that are interested in it. And then if they're willing to meet those goals before putting it up, then,
And they're willing to pay for it?
yeah, I think, yeah. I mean, other than the stuff like, good housekeeping plan, like the documentation that, you know, the requirements and stuff like that, we may need to, the district may need to pay for that stuff, but, you know, let them build their straw logs and stuff like
I
that.
don't think the taxpayer should be paying for any of this.
okay, let's,
I
keep it on the
think
agenda.
It's informational at this point, so I think we can't make decisions at this
Yeah.
point.
Let's keep it on the agenda, talk to the subcommittee, advisory committee, give them the information, and they can come speak next month if they would like to share some comments, okay? Dead end of Blockhouse Drive and HEB Center. This is you, Robert.
Yeah, what do we wanna do with it?
Leave it as it is, we don't have money to be spending.
Well, I think, this came up because of the fence, right? Is this where this started out, the fence at the end, because we were paying to have them reinforce the fence, because the Uber people were dropping off. And I think you'd originally mentioned the county said they were unwilling to block it if it remained a street.
Yes,
Red strip it.
We have,
Or red, okay, red, they were unwilling to red strip it, okay.
we did, you all approved for a change order to reinforce that fence.
Yes, I remember that.
Reinforcement has 100% worked, so we have had no more issues of anybody crossing over that area, breaking that fence down. So there is no access now from the HEB center to that actual road now.
Okay.
Okay.
I think, we don't necessarily put it on right now, but I think we should bear in mind long-term, like, I mean, did the county re-chip seal that section? when they
They
redid?
can't, it's not theirs, it belongs to the district.
That little strip does, okay, because that's, I guess, we probably have maybe budget time, have some discussion, and obviously this budget, but future about cost of maintenance versus alternative solutions.
Yeah, I think it's in the park plan also.
Yeah, it is, so I think we need to have some discussion about what to do about it, but given the money cost, and we talk it through the budget discussion.
Yeah, let's keep it in the budget, if that's all right with everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, number 36, your report, from it. Director.
In terms of my directives, everything here is either in process or done.
Okay, let's do the liability. Breach response coverage?
Yeah, so board members, you have behind tab 38 here, TML, Intergovernmental Risk Pool is your insurance provider. And their cyber liability is going up this year rather significantly. And so they are asking for you guys to come back and essentially opt in and to keep your existing coverage. And so it looks like the billable contribution here is going up to $247. It's not a significant increase from a dollar perspective, but it is fairly significant just in terms of what it was before. I think it was less than, right around $100 before.
Motion to approve.
Second,
Are these, sorry.
do I have a second?
Oh, sorry,
You were
second, wait,
Oh, sorry,
Go ahead.
wait, did you, hold on, would
I was
that
just
mean,
asking for a second.
okay, did you motion, did you second, or I'll second if no one else?
Do I have a second?
It's pretty clear for
I think
246.
I had John.
Yeah, well, I'm just wondering, are these, so this is before and after, or are those two options, Core and Core Plus?
Core Plus is an elevated level, and so I think that's what so that was the previous contribution, I'm sorry, there's the new prices there. So we have Core Plus right now, and it's going up significantly, it's about 5x. And with the caveat, and I'm on, there are two things here.
Page 4 or 4?
So there is a single page, and then if you go past that orange page, there's a page that says critical alert, and yes, you're exactly right, page 4 of 4.
So basically, I'm reading it right, it went from 175 to 247, correct?
No, see how there's a new 24-25 annual contribution, and then a previous 23-24
Oh,
contribution.
1250,
So it went from
1,000 to
247 to 12.
Okay, that's
Okay.
really cheap for cyber.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Yeah,
is.
I just didn't understand what the things
I
were.
was thinking it's.
So,
Okay, let's go around the room, Director Young.
yeah, I'm not sure exactly, like, I'd rather get just the legal minimum on this. It's going from, to this 5 tupling from, in price,
from 250 to 1250. There's some payment card information. I don't know that we have anything vulnerable to cyber attack. We have a webpage, right? The emails going through our web people, like, I don't know that we don't need to worry about hacking into our email, because somebody else is managing. We're already paying somebody else to do that, and they've already got their own insurance.
But what if they do hack into our emails? And what if they steal proprietary information? What if they
Okay.
some confidential return?
That should be covered by the people that are hosting our,
But this is just an added protection.
Like having the end of the world insurance.
Director Young finishes, well, let you finish your piece.
To have any of this, then let's do it. But I don't see any vulnerability where we don't have any hard drives in here that can be hacked into or anything like that. It's all being third party, somebody else has that. So whoever's next.
Director Johnson?
It's an interesting question, like what are our assets? Sean, what about that? Is there a requirement to have this policy? I'm just curious.
I don't think there's any state law requirement. Typically, we ask that any consultant of the district have their own cyber coverage.
Right.
And that has shown up before in the past with consultant groups who provide services to districts. You guys are a little bit distinguishable from the rest of my clients in that you don't, Director Young has noted, maybe the concern there isn't as high as maybe a private corporation or something like that, or a larger governmental entity, but you guys do have a lot more IT assets than most of my other clients.
Right.
And also, I don't know, and also you've got a website, I don't know, I can check if this covers like ransom payments and that sort of thing, I know that's a consideration for my firm.
Sure.
So I would tell you, I can't speak with specificity about IT security the way Robert's.
Right. I believe we're already being covered by the host. They have their policy. If that gets hacked into, they've got the insurance to cover that.
So I would be interested to see if we take credit card payments, is that on the bank or is that on us? So it just,
In that, when we talked about the credit card payments, that I'm not sure if this applies here or if it would be an additional layer or not.
okay, just curious.
Okay, Director Roberts?
Yeah, I'm just reading what it covers, and it's breach response, network business interruptions, cyber extortion, data recovery cost, and fraud protection. So I think it's worth it to have the other protection.
Okay, Director Shoemaker?
And this might be this might be more of a Sean question, but I see that it's got the over one limit of liability, right, kind of an aggregate. I presume the parts in that were either the table tower 2 or the subparts, I haven't done the math, but like, I don't think the things in that core plus column 2 here add up to $1 million. I guess I was trying to reason around like, what is covered between the $1 million, right? And then that tower 2, like what, I'd like to, if there's a way to get clarity, maybe it's further doc, I can look through, just throw that out there about like, if you know what that's meant to cover, right? Because I'll be honest, from a financial perspective, $1,200 a year, that is the annual, is not that much for insurance, period, of any type.
I would agree with that.
But, so part of me is like, it's not much, but then I guess I'd like, it's a little hard to handle what we're getting coverage for, because I guess, and I don't know if we have a full discussion, I hope we know all the data we control, right? I think there'll be some security and legal liability with that. So I feel like I don't have a solid picture of what we're gonna get coverage on to do this. I don't think it's expensive, but I also wanna make sure we're getting coverage we can use. I'm not saying we shouldn't use TML, but just that if there's any other aspect that we could tailor our coverage perhaps to get more where we need it.
So what I think, I'm sorry, Director Shoemaker, you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, so I think Director Young brought up some good points, and I think that what we need to do is a risk analysis before we move forward and see really where do we need to cover that's not already covered? And then look at it again. Because, yeah, if there's breach of X, Y, and Z, well, what are they gonna breach on books? So, and there's no reason to double pay if our website host has this protection. I mean, where are they gonna hold ransomware over us? That our cameras aren't working, well, then the camera people, security should have that cyber security. So I think a risk analysis should be done before we move forward on this. So do I have a motion for this,
Just to be sure that, I don't know why, I've never seen TML issue a statement like this before, but there is a deadline of September 30th, so we have time to do additional due diligence. For some reason, I've never seen them say this before, but if you want the cyber coverage continued, they need the response plan.
And Sean, can I ask a quick question real quickly before Director Lowy for that? Are we required to move to the Core Plus, or?
I think we're Core Plus right now, so
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think so, I think you could do either.
Okay, that's helpful.
So the risk analysis will probably help inform that. And just to be clear, we'll have coverage until we make this decision, as long as it's before September 30th.
Thank you.
okay, so just to be fair to everyone, does anyone have a motion to approve this as is now? Okay,
I'll
so,
make a motion, just because I think it's something we already have and we're just continuing it, am I correct?
Correct,
Okay.
albeit at a higher cost.
So,
yeah, higher cost.
$250 higher cost, right?
$1,000.
1,000 to 1,250,
Yeah.
correct? Okay,
No, it was at $250, now it's at $1,250.
Right.
okay.
And it sounds like high pressure, you guys gotta lock in this price right now, or you're gonna lose the coverage type of marketing to me.
So before I make the motion, I do want to ask you a question. How many of your other districts are doing it? And
Certain districts have absolutely no facilities, so they don't have any.
Right.
But I think anybody who operates their own water system, I think, has it.
There you go.
Yeah, so I think it's been, and of course, it's been a very low premium.
But with that, operating the water, that should be on Crossroads. They should have the cyber.
but I think we have a
Yes.
layer that we probably have some light.
Well, and that's where the risk analysis would show us the gaps. Okay, so did you make a motion?
Yes, I did.
Okay, do I have a second? I'll second so we can all vote on it. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Me for now.
Nay for now, I guess.
Yeah, and Robert's abstaining. Okay, what else do we have before we
Come
jump
back.
into?
And this will come back next agenda.
Yeah, it has to.
Risk analysis, okay.
Well, I guess August, yeah.
Well, let's do it next. If the risk analysis shows we need it, let's make sure we do it.
Well,
I
I'll
just-
just withdraw my motion. There's no point in doing it if we're gonna do a risk analysis and bring it back on the agenda, so I'm just withdrawing.
It's up to
the
you,
motion.
John, or Sean. I mean, because we already voted.
I mean, it doesn't
We'll
make
just
any
take it out, yeah.
sense.
Well, that's fine, I wanna make sure the clarification of what we're doing.
Okay, number 40, drought contingency plan, stage 1.
So Ben and I had chatted, it ends up, we got notice from the city of Cedar Park that, we talked about this last time or no? That we updated our DCP prior to them updating theirs. And then they noticed that ours did not match, so we are looking through it, and we have gotten their docs, we prepared something. We will likely have that for y'all next month. Last month, we talked about possibly moving back from stage 2 to stage 1. The primary difference now with City of Cedar Park's plan is that we are changing the designations for stage 2 and stage 1. So it's my recommendation that we requested an item to potentially consider moving from stage 2 to stage 1, or to one stage 2. I would suggest tabling that until we have a new DCP in place, since there'll be new conditions, probably next week.
Okay, so no action right now?
None recommended.
Okay, tax rate, number 41.
Okay, I will go through this here, I think this is just our schedule. I'm sorry, district tax classifications. The Texas legislature, in all their wisdom, a couple years back, basically came up with categories for municipal utility districts. And it basically has to do with how your operation and maintenance tax could potentially be rolled back in certain scenarios. Long story short, you have decided and confirmed that you are a developed district the past several years. That puts you into the box where you have a less flexibility to raise your tax. But you fit the definition of developed district according to both your financial advisor and also your FA. And so we'd like to make a finding on the record that you define yourself, and so it would be the recommendation this year once again will be as a developed district.
And this is just formalizing something we always do.
But we need to vote on it.
Well,
Right, I just want to make
Yeah.
sure.
New to us.
Okay, motion to approve,
Motion.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstaining?
Abstain.
Okay, the schedule for the 24-25 budget,
Alright, and we have this, no newbies this year, right? Everybody's been here for this rodeo before, so. Typically, you guys have had a special meeting in August to have a budget work session. And you typically have a special meeting just to refresh everyone's memory. The levy of your ad valorem tax is a two-step process. You get together first to kind of discuss and debate over what your tax rate's gonna be. We typically agree on a number to publish. And then you come back a month later and that provides notice to members, residents of your district. You come back about a month later and then you actually levy. So our proposed schedule here, and we can always tweak these dates as we need to. I have not looked at what these actual dates are, they might just all be the Wednesdays, they are.
Can I say one thing about the schedule here?
Sure.
I just wanna make everybody aware, August 14th is the first day of
I was
school.
gonna say that, yes.
And I know that's not so hard for me anymore, but you guys with the littles, I think that's gonna be a little challenging, so I would, and I wouldn't do the 13th, because you definitely don't do the night before the first day of school. So, Director Johnson, do you have a suggestion for,
Even the 15th would be better.
okay, so could we
If that works
consider
for
doing Thursday, the 15th?
I'm fine with that.
And that's the budget meeting.
That's the,
Special
budget is
meeting.
the work session, so actually you don't
I
even have to be
usually don't
here.
come to that one, yeah.
Yeah, we just need to make sure Tyler can do that.
Yeah,
Okay,
so 8:15 on
Let
budget.
me just, before we,
The
just make
next
sure
Wednesday
there's
and
no.
If you already said it, because
it's a Thursday,
So everything's a Wednesday all the way through the
except
15th,
for,
except for the 15th.
yeah, what we're thinking, the 15th.
Well, that's on a
Which
Sunday,
is
so.
Third.
August 15th is a
That's
Thursday.
September 15th.
Oh.
And caveat here, Williamson County requests that you levy your tax. We have September 15th, but I believe that's a Sunday, so.
It is a Sunday.
Yeah, so the actual deadline is likely the 13th.
On Monday, the 16th.
You have to be levied by the 15th.
so they all.
Well, not, actually, I would, code is actually the 30th.
Yeah, Larry will probably give us some relief.
No, Larry's not gonna give us leeway, we need to get into Larry, but I have a bone with Larry about Larry's unique interpretation of statute.
Okay, well, let's,
Let's say it's the 15th.
yeah, let's shoot for the
I
13th.
agree with Director Johnson.
Okay,
Yeah, let's shoot for getting, but there's no reason we shouldn't be able to get done in time, right?
Yeah, and y'all typically levy early anyway, just with your separation of things.
okay, so with the, date change from August 14th to the 15th, do I have a motion to approve the, meeting schedule?
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Okay, so the only change is 14 to 15.
All abstained?
You're staying.
And we're just gonna check with Tyler, right?
Yeah.
Because his presence is
And I'm
critical.
sorry, did you motion? Did you make-
David Johnson motion.
Johnson?
I think
Director Roberts.
Robert.
Director Roberts motion, David second.
No, we just have to
Whatever
have
you
it
want.
done before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're good elsewhere.
Okay, C, assessed values,
I think we
Well,
have
Larry.
pre-run, yeah. Are they pre-run?
yeah, it
Yeah.
says.
They're.
Because they just got certified tomorrow, right, July 25th?
They should be by July
Yeah.
25th, I don't know if they're actually on time.
So anyway, long story short, this is what the prelim looks like, and we will have your final numbers by the next time we meet, so.
Okay, great, okay, so, the restricted covenants, committee had asked us to go into executive session over an item. So we are going to go into executive session, which means there's one in the other room, no decisions will be made in there, and then we'll come back out, and if there are any motions or votes, we'll do it out here in public. Okay, so we will be right back. Okay, so we're out of executive session, no decisions were made. Director Johnson.
We are directing our attorney to work with Will Cardwell on research related to restricted covenants. Is that sufficient?
That is
Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Perfect, okay, so the last thing we have on the agenda is a code of ethics complaint. Sean?
So board members, I have received a code of ethics complaint from Director Young about Director Logan. I have gone through this analysis starts with me, and under your rules, I review the complaint to see whether or not it is actionable essentially to go forward. I undertake essentially a legal review and provide you with the legal advice there. So I would recommend that, I'm not positive it's confidential and privileged here, but I would, it certainly is legal advice, and so I think I would recommend, or at least advise you to consider going into executive to discuss the plan.
Okay, so, since it is about me, I do not wanna go into executive, I wanna be transparent, but I'll let the rest of the board decide.
I think that's wise.
Okay, Director Young,
I'm good with that.
Director.
Stay here? I guess I have no opinion if you wanna stay here or if you wanna.
I'd rather have this in executive myself.
Okay, I said no executive, you're saying yes executive, Director Johnson?
I guess it's about you, if you wanna stay out here, I'm fine with it.
I'm fine, if you're fine with it.
So the rest of the will of the board is to be in public, so we'll discuss here then.
Okay.
I want you to get that coat, because I'm gonna need something to stay
I
away.
brought it from home.
Oh,
And it's almost gone.
Just kidding.
So board members, I'm passing out, I'll give you the opportunity to review it. And then I can walk you through my analysis. I've also included the relevant provisions.
The team's got here, we've got here.
Okay, can I get that one back from you?
Sorry.
Sorry, mine had more messed okay. I'll let you read pages, essentially 1 and 3 here. And then I'm gonna walk you through the 2 relevant provisions that I looked at in reviewing this complaint.
Oh, do I just get a feeling that there's Denise's signature? I mean, I'm confused on how this,
Yeah, so the complaint needs to be notarized when it's submitted, and
so her signature goes where?
behind that page 1.
Her notary stamp, that's her
Oh, and then
notarization.
there's a supplemental,
Yes.
and then these other 2 pages, you just added the code of ethics?
Yeah, that's just for your reference.
So one of us call executive and take Robert back in and ask more specific questions and then bring Ursula in?
We're not at that point yet.
Okay, I just wanna know how we process this.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna lead you down the path here. Ready to do this, so I first wanna start, just with the code of ethics, the complaints and procedures for violation section, so, under 702, my office is to make a determination, basically if the facts of the claim are true, would constitute a violation of the policy. If the district attorney determines the complaint does not contain facts that constitute violation, the district attorney will so advise the board at its regular meeting. So I have reviewed the complaint, and processed it against, section 302A, which you also have in front of you. And I have made, in my determination, have made that this would not constitute, a violation of the policy. And so if you flip over to 302A, in reviewing what was sent over by Director Young here, I'm not seeing a nexus between the behaviors complained of here, and specifically the best interest of the district, which is what that 302A is effectively built around. And so I don't have a recommendation here to move forward with consideration of the complaint.
So do we need to make a motion or anything, or?
We don't need to make any motion, this is just my report, or essentially notice to the board.
So give me your basis on why you don't feel like it's a violation. Because it looks like, from what I'm reading, there's some conversations going on, but I guess my question to you is this, do any of these actions have anything to do with mud business, or is this a personal?
I would suggest that before in June, it was personal, that was fine. But on June 23rd, Sunday, right before the last board meeting, she put in there that I'm ready for Wednesday, bring it and bring Heather. The Heather is who she's threatening to share information with.
Heather is.
She's been here the last couple meetings.
Oh.
My ex-wife,
Oh, okay.
my current.
Okay. All right. Am I allowed to ask questions?
Discussion is germane on this topic, or you asked me a question about how I arrived at my decision.
Yeah.
And it's, you brought up the fact that I don't find that this is within the purview of any, related to any relevant district business. This seems to be a conflict between two individuals who are acquainted outside of their board service. And I don't see that it comes to the level of dealing with board business. And thus the best interest of the district, I don't think are implicated here.
So there really is no behavior or action that was involved with the mud discussion?
When I hear I'm ready for Wednesday, which it was the Sunday before the Wednesday when the meeting was, and her saying, bring Heather, she meant, I think we can understand that she meant Wednesday night at the board meeting, bring Heather. Right, and that's why I feel threatened by Director Logan, that I don't know what she wants, and it's not for me to read her mind at this point. I'm being threatened.
And you're feeling threatened
I still do.
by being present in our mud discussion?
By participating at this point. I don't know why she's threatening to reveal any information, but you could see earlier that she's mentioned that what she's prepared to share with my partner in a previous text, but this is the one where it's looping it in with Wednesday and at the meeting. And
So anything besides this involved official oppression?
I don't know. Perhaps it stopped because I stopped voting, and maybe she realized that, you'd have to ask her, but I'm threatened by, I'm ready for Wednesday, bring your partner, and I'm gonna tell her all sorts of things.
What's the next step?
And again, I'm not making the recommendation that you guys move forward with it. What the rules call for is for me to make a determination as to what I have against what the rules say, and so I've presented that to you guys.
I mean, so either we do nothing, or somebody makes a motion to whatever step 2 was. Consideration by the board, which I guess is what we're doing at this moment.
Well, that moves forward.
Correct, Sean, we're at 7.13.
Right, Sean just did 7.03.
Well, under 702, I made my initial determination. The report to the board only occurs, I've offered you some background in terms of my decision making. But that only occurs under 703 if I make the recommendation to move forward with it.
Okay.
I hope you guys understand that bringing this to your attention from when I got this text until now, until it's out in the open, I feel like any of my votes may have been questioned, my integrity, because, you know, maybe Robert's voting because he's feeling like he's getting blackmailed and he's participating in, you know, voting whatever Ursula wants. Or maybe he's voting against it, but that's why I've been abstaining from votes. Now that it's on the table, I'll resume my votes. I don't think there was anything that was 2-2, there was a tiebreaker, everything was easy, but, you know, I'm not gonna have my integrity questioned on the votes today, earlier, and last month, and that's why I've abstained. And I do feel like it's my duty to vote and participate 100%.
I appreciate knowing that.
You know, thank you for saying something.
I guess, Robert, my question is, besides the comment I'm ready for Wednesday, bring it on, or bring Heather, is there anything else that is a board member that you feel like it was a violation? I mean, I don't mean to.
No, it was the Wednesday and bring Heather.
I don't know if there's any action to be taken here. I don't think there is. Based on Sean's report, but, let's just be frank. We other 3 board members have work to do, y'all do too. I really do not appreciate having to go through this. I'm sure you don't appreciate it personally, but we're here 9 late. And we're running through this. I would like to ask y'all, I don't know what, but please find a way to deal with these things, or we don't have to deal with them here at the board.
I agree with you 100%. Thank you for saying that.
I think if there's any further action to do on this, we need a vote. If not, I think we should adjourn.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I still have topics that I'd like to discuss on the general manager. I had asked Sean and confirmed with Sean that we'd be able to get that in there today. I prefer to take it in, and in fact, we did talk about this.
Can I pause real quick then, Sean, before we move forward? Do we have anything to discuss on the agenda that's ready at this point?
I'm sorry, can you,
But based on Mr. Robert Gregory Young's comments.
Yeah.
Do we have anything similar to this to discuss regarding lease at this point? Or is this the
There's no-
only item that we have to
Yeah,
discuss?
there's no pending complaints relating to Lisa or anything like that.
Okay. Are you making a complaint? I'm not saying, look, I'm not saying you can't, but my point is if you got one, we need to.
Nothing like a code of conduct, but as she's a contractor, I would like to take it to an executive session. I brought this up last month. We didn't have a full board, you were.
I was remote,
And it was
Director Johnson
absent. Director Logan suggested that we get the full board together to have this conversation. And I'd like to
voice some concerns I have about the performance of our general manager.
Okay, so, I'm gonna ask Lisa, since, can she be in there? Or she should be in there, right?
Can we put an agenda?
Okay,
Well, hold on, let's work with Director Logan and
Okay,
Director Young
so-
about what we can do tonight.
okay, so, you should be in there absolutely when anybody's discussing you. So my second question is, do you want it to be executive or do you want it to be open?
Yeah, I think it's slanderous to put anything out there that's absolutely inappropriate.
But no, do you want to be in
Yeah,
executive or be in,
It should be
okay.
an executive.
Okay, Director Young stated he wants to be an executive, Director Johnson?
Yeah, executive, if we need to do it, executive.
Director Roberts.
Yeah, it's 9:10, and I'm just thinking that we, probably need to compose this and do it as an agenda item. I know, Robert, that you wanted it this month. We're gonna meet again, our calendar's pretty quick, and I would probably like to have fresher minds so that we're a little bit more rested, because this is long, I've not had any dinner. And I don't want to be, I guess, in a situation where I'm having to think and my body's kind of tired from everything. And just in all fairness to both of you, I think it'd be better if we put it early on the agenda and got it done.
I'd like to go to executive, 10, 15 minutes, discuss some of the things, we can cook on it for a month. We can have an agenda item, and then we could either go back into executive, or we can discuss it out here, but I'd like to get it on the table so that we could either start addressing it or go with what we got going on.
Sean, is it permissible to take this into executive?
Yeah, we would be reconsidering the GM item here, general manager's report, so I think it's permissible under that.
I'm fine with taking this back to executive, Robert has to say.
Okay, I would prefer not being executive, you know, that's what Lisa's wish was, but
Yeah.
let's do it. I think everybody's
Those
at,
are from
everyone's at the table, okay, no decisions were made. We are going to add an agenda item next month, for our GM review. And consultant reviews are best out in public and not in executive. So, that's how we'll handle it, so,
Motion to adjourn.
thank you.
Second.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.